draft. So let's just take a quick look at the Wizards' franchise history here. Washington met Seattle in the 1978 NBA Finals, and they were led by Finals MVP Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes. So Washington brought home their only championship. And then the Wizards, they had a top pick for the first time. They drafted Kwame Brown. This was during the Michael Jordan era. And their next first overall pick was 2010, John Wall. He was a 5-time All-Star, but the Wizards, they couldn't quite get over the hump, and now they are back at the top of the draft, looking to add to their core of players. It includes Trae Young, who just agreed, as Shams reported, to that extension, Anthony Davis, Alex Carr. We're taking a look here inside the Wizards draft headquarters as they're deliberating, making this decision, or maybe just putting the finalizing touches on a decision that they have kept pretty close to the vest here, Jay, and there has been a conversation over the last few weeks as to who they will select.
And there should be. I mean, there's a lot of talent at the top of this draft. But I think the most natural fit for the roster they have is A.J. Dybantsa. If you're looking for a wing to fit in with that group, he fits perfectly there. You can make a great argument for Darryn Peterson. You can make a great argument for Cameron Boozer. But I tend to think that Dybantsa is the best fit if that's what they're looking for, in addition to the great talent, because they've got 3 excellent choices there.
And A.J. Dybantsa has certainly said that he doesn't plan on dropping, is the way that he put it, any farther than #1. And again, if it is A.J., you will hear his name announced as Anise Dybantsa, his full name, Tim. But when you're looking at the needs of the Washington Wizards, at the top of the list feels like a healthy training camp with Anthony Davis and Trae Young and that partnership.
No doubt it starts there. It starts with both guys being motivated to be there, staying healthy. You're talking about one of the elite bigs and one of the elite scoring and dual threat guards we have in this league in Trae Young. A lot of young guys around him right now. They've got a lot of lottery picks on this team, but they don't have anything that's quite like A.J. Dybantsa and what he can bring. He's got a mature game. He's got a physical ability to break defenses down, play through contact. He fits in perfectly with what they need because they've got bigs, they've got a point guard that's going to be ball dominant, they've got some shooting and scoring coming off their bench. They don't have a big wing that can play both ends of the floor, immediately plug and play. That's why I think it's the right pick.
Well, I'm already envisioning the front court. I mean, can you imagine an A.J. Dybantsa, Alex Carr, and Anthony Davis front court here, and certainly what you can do defensively? I think we're looking at team needs that are flashing up before each team. I think the biggest one for he's not a position. They need to learn how to win. When you go through all this losing, you need to learn how to win basketball games consistently, and that's going to be the biggest challenge as far as molding all these players together here.
You mentioned Anthony Davis. Do you expect him to be there long term? He's still waiting on a possible extension.
I do. I think they went out and traded for him in February with Dallas, and he's extension eligible on August 6th to sign a 4-year deal here, and I think he's part of the fabric moving forward.
And that's so interesting that you bring up learning how to win, because oftentimes, Drea, the player that's drafted at the top of the draft, they've been winners their entire lives, and then they go to a team that has historically struggled. It's why they're at the top of the draft, although those lottery odds are going to be changing in the future. Could AJ or Cam Boozer or a Darryn Peterson be part of changing that fabric?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's why the debate is between the 3 of them. They're all so talented, they're winners, they're competitive, but they're all different. They present something different when thinking about going to this Washington Wizards team. I know you talked about A.J. Dybantsa's fit, Tim, but when you think about Darryn Peterson, possibly at times taking some of the playmaking pressure off of Trae Young, that could also be an appeal when you think about Darryn Peterson with this team.
I totally agree. Look, you're talking about 2 guys that are going to impact you immediately. One thing I can tell you, having played there, this is an area that's going to get behind a team. Like, they're dying for their basketball team to be good down there. It's a hotbed for high school hoops, Jay, as you know. One of the most heavily recruited areas in the country. There's a major D1 presence there. This is the franchise that they want to get behind, and they're starting to with some of the talent they've added in veterans, and now the #1 pick.
And as we watch them in the green room, I'm always interested to see whose phone maybe is going to ring, and we're going to get to catch the exact moment, a text message that's going to come through. Because even though at this point we all expect the Washington Wizards, it's not going down to the final minute and 12 seconds. Some of this is the moment and the pageantry. But that's all part of this, Jay. At some point in the next minute and 5 seconds, an agent's phone is going to ring.
And lives are going to change, and the future of franchises are going to change. And some of it can be negative, but most of it's positive. And it's going to be exciting to see whose name is called first.
It's every one of these players just went on the greatest job interview process in the last 2 months here, and they are about to join an elite fraternity that only 450 players could join, and 30 of them tonight get to join that group.
And only a couple get to join. Only a few have been in that fraternity of being the #1 selection. Jay, in the final 25 seconds, who are you expecting to hear here?
I think it's going to be Dybantsa, but again, you can make a great case for Boozer, a great case for Peterson, but I think it's going to be Dybantsa. Who knows? We'll see.
Well,
it's
we'll
amazing
see.
It hasn't leaked out.
It really has. Well, the conversation, it's over. Let's send it back to the podium to find out who is the #1 pick.
With the first pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Anise Dybantsa Jr. from Brigham Young University.
The debate, the conversation, it's over. In a class that's been touted as one of the deepest in recent memory, it is Anise AJ Dybantsa, the freshman out of BYU that the Washington Wizards select #1 overall. And Dybantsa, he traded high school experiences like going to prom to shape himself into the blueprint of a top selection. But this, sharing the dream he's talked about and worked towards for so many years with his father Ace, his mom Chelsea, his sisters Samara and Jasmine. This is what the draft is all about. And he's talked about being #1. He's expected, he has manifested, and now he is certainly that. And in his lone season at BYU, he scored the most points by a freshman in Big 12 history behind his favorite player, Kevin Durant. And the Brockton native day. It was very important to him that it was specifically Brockton and not the Boston area. He was a finalist for the Naismith, the Wooden Awards. He's not just got the skill, he has the charisma and the confidence to be a franchise player.
And the mentality of a true pro. And he's the first freshman, he averaged 25 a game, Malik, and the first freshman to lead the nation in scoring in a quarter century. He's built for the NBA. All his measurables, he's 6'8", he's got a 7-foot wingspan. All the athletic tools. He had the 4th best max vertical at the combine. He attacks downhill. He's a 3-level scorer that's continuing to improve his 3-point accuracy. But where he is devastating is at the mid-range with those long strides. He can make NBA-level shots right now oversized. He can post, he can back you in and shoot over the top. His mid-range game is elite, and he's also got open court abilities. Excellent in transition, and he can get to the foul line. He led the NCAA in free throw attempts, and when Richie Saunders, one of BYU's top scorers and best shooter, went out this year, he increased his productivity in his absence against much more focused defense to stop him. I think he can be an excellent defender. He's still working on that, but he's got all the tools to be a great NBA player.
Jay, you talk about Richie Saunders going down, and AJ Dybantsa talked about how that also challenged his leadership and being more vocal. And he had an incredible finish to his freshman season. AP Big 12 Player of the Year. He finished the season with 14 straight 20-point games. Second longest streak in Big 12 history behind Trae Young. 93 points in the Big 12 tournament. That topped, like you said, Malika, his favorite player, which was Kevin Durant.
And AJ is with our Lisa Salters.
AJ, you wanted to be the #1 pick.
Yeah.
You are now the #1 pick. Just what does it feel like when your childhood dream comes true?
It just means a lot. Obviously, it's just a stepping stone. Obviously, I have a lot more work to do, but a testament to all my hard work and other discipline and sacrifices that I made.
You go by AJ,
Yeah.
but you wanted to be announced tonight as the #1 pick.
Yeah.
By the name, your formal name that you share with your father, Anise.
Yeah.
Why did you want to do that?
I mean, everything I do is for him. And this name he gave me is really his name because he's senior. So I also want to honor him this day, too.
Now introduce us to who you have up here with
This is
you.
my older sister, Samara, and my younger sister, Jasmine.
What does it mean to you guys to see your brother realizing his dream like this?
It's so crazy because it's like when we were younger, you used to see him in the backyard, you know, playing basketball. And now he's the #1 pick for the NBA. Like, he's come so far.
He's your knucklehead little brother, right?
Yes.
And now he's the #1 pick in the draft. How do you reconcile that?
It's just crazy because it's like he's worked really hard for this moment, and I'm so proud of him. You know, he knows that. He knows I'm proud.
Congratulations to all of you
so
guys.
much.
Lisa, thank you. Look at this, just the little smile. He believed that this would be a moment that came true for him, AJ Dybantsa did, that he would be the #1 pick. But when a childhood dream is realized, you can't help but have just that little crack of emotion, the nerves, the anticipation. And now AJ Dybantsa, the #1 pick in this incredibly talented draft class. And with that, the Utah Jazz are on the clock here at #2. And really, it feels like there are so many picks that could be a #1 pick that Utah is looking at here, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got people in the front court with Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr. So you could say there's not a need for Cameron Boozer. Don't be surprised if they take him, though. But Darryn Peterson seems to be the pick. But again, we talked about those three not being interchangeable, but all worthy of the #1 pick.
And what Utah has been saying is, of the top teams, they are focused on this year, Bobby, getting back into their winning ways.
They sure are, and they went out and acquired Jaren Jackson Jr. at the trade deadline here, and they've got Walker Kessler, who is restricted free agent. Now, if you have Kessler, Markkanen, and Jackson Jr., now we're talking about front court.
Right.
That is a big front court, and you add Darren Peterson with Keontae George, and you've got some money out there to go out and spend. That is certainly on their way.
Like, what do you see as their need here?
I think they're looking at this guy as having the biggest upside, ultimately the highest ceiling, and that's why this is the most likely pick, I think, for Utah to go with that front court and all that size, another playmaker.
Well, let's find out as we send it back to the podium. An agent just walked over, but let's get the pick officially from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the second pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Darryn Peterson from the University of Kansas.
Well, the Utah Jazz, they feel like they just selected another #1 pick in Darryn Peterson, the freshman out of Kansas. He averaged just over 20 points a game for the Jayhawks. That's the most by a freshman in Kansas history. And veteran CJ McCollum, who's one of Peterson's mentors, right? He said that his ceiling, Peterson's ceiling, it can really be whatever he wants it to be. And Jay, you saw it firsthand. The talent is clearly there. We didn't necessarily get to see him at full strength at Kansas, but what is Utah getting?
They're getting the most talented prospect in this draft. He is a fluid, smooth, almost artistic scorer. He's got all the measurables as well. He's not as tall as Dybantsa, but he's 6'5". He's got a wingspan that goes to 6'10". He's very athletic, but he can really shoot it. His shot preparation is excellent. He moves without the ball very well, and he is very creative in getting his own shot, so he can shoot it off DHOs. He can shoot it off the catch, off the dribble. He moves off screens. You know, his catch and shoot numbers were excellent. And when he was healthy, honestly, there was nobody better. We talked about that game he played against BYU and AJ Dybantsa in the first half. He was magnificent with 18 points on 6 of 8 shooting. He's just a savant scoring the ball, a natural, excellent in transition. He can finish with either hand around the basket, but in catch and shoot situations, here he got fouled against North Carolina and knocked it down. Deep range, and everything seems effortless with him, even though he puts a lot of effort in it. His shooting on the move, excellent. And one of the things that I think is underrated about Darryn Peterson is I think he can be an excellent defender. You know, he gets steals, he blocks shots, he's impactful on the defensive end, and I think that's only going to get better. He's a quiet personality, but he isn't quiet on the court. He's loud when he plays.
One of the things I love about him is he changes speeds. He doesn't play at one speed all the time. That's growth as an offensive player. The catch and shoot ability, Jay alluded to, 43% off the catch. That's going to be really important when you get to the league, and there's a lot of guys they're going to be playing with that want the ball in their hands. You've got to make quick decisions with it. He can do that off the catch. The thing I'm excited about for Utah, that Will Hardy's one of the good young minds in this game.
Absolutely.
He has not had a mandate to win there. They're starting to now get to that point. They want to go out and compete every night. I think Darryn Peterson's going to help do that.
And Darryn Peterson is with our Lisa Salters.
Wow, when you guys see all the emotion in there, that was your grandfather actually that gave you that big hug. Just what was he saying to you?
He was just happy. He didn't even say much. He was just happy for me. Yeah, he was just super happy for me.
When you look back at all of those workouts that your dad put you through, did you guys ever think that it would lead to this, the #2 pick in the NBA draft?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't, but my pops always knew. And once I got older, I started to believe it as well. But all of it paid off.
And Mr. Darryl, what does it mean to you that throughout his career, he's chosen to wear the number 22 in honor of you?
It means a lot. That was my number. It shows how much he believes and respects me as a dad, and he just embraced it.
Miss Sasha, just how proud of you are your son right now?
It's just a blessing. I'm just happy to be here and be a part of his journey.
Congratulations to all of you guys. Enjoy the ride.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
At the Combine, Darryn Peterson, he said, why should I be a top pick? And he said, take a chance on me. I won't let you down. And the Utah Jazz have said certainly that they would like to do that. Shams, what went into the decision to take Darryn Peterson here for the Utah Jazz?
Darryn Peterson formerly only visited for the Washington Wizards, but sources told me that the Utah Jazz actually went to go see Darryn Peterson himself on Saturday for a private visit in Canton, Ohio. The two sides sat down, talked about his mentality, his mindset, his excitement as a player, and Darryn Peterson in that meeting expressed that he wanted to be a part of this Jazz transition. We know they went out and got Jaren Jackson Jr. to add to Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George, and now Darryn Peterson joins the fold.
Darryn Peterson on his way to Utah. And we know, Bobby, that the Jazz are not afraid to take a player who maybe didn't go to work out with them. They did it with Ace Bailey before, and now they have done it once again with Darryn Peterson, who is headed to the Utah Jazz. But now it's the Memphis Grizzlies that are on the clock. And Memphis is in a really interesting spot here because they traded away Jaren Jackson Jr., as we just talked about, to Utah. Ja Morant is still on the roster, but it feels like they are looking for a resolution with their superstar.
They are. Certainly with, they tried to trade him at the deadline here, and he's got 2 years left on his deal. And I think where this direction is going, they traded Desmond Bane last year, Jaren Jackson Jr. I would expect Ja Morant to be the next player to be on the move. And when you look at Cedric Howard, who is here, and who they go at number 3, that is going to be kind of the rebuild with the Memphis Grizzlies.
And they own a lot of their draft assets. They built a really nice collection of draft assets here coming up as they try to work towards that rebuild.
And they've got some exciting young players right now, so now they're about to add another one to the mix. They're going to get some front court help to play alongside Zach Edey. This is a team that wants to play fast. So they have a couple options here. I think Boozer's most likely to pick, but Caleb Wilson be a guy that can play in the open floor as well.
Yeah, we've talked about Cameron Boozer as being someone who in any other year could be a #1 pick as well. Will we hear his name called now? Let's send it back to the podium and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver as Memphis has made their selection.
With the 3rd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Cameron Boozer from Duke University.
Cameron Boozer, he has been a winning player at every single level, and now he is on his way to Memphis. Boozer, the consensus National Player of the Year, AP All-America first-team selection. He is the son of 2-time NBA All-Star and NCAA champion. You see him there, Carlos Boozer. But it was his mom, Cameron told me, who drove him to every single practice, every tournament, helped him find all of his trainers. He, of course, played with his twin brother, Caden, at Duke as well. And this quote, I think, just gives such great insight, as you see a very proud pops right there, into the winning mentality of Cameron Boozer. He said, whether I go 1 or I go 15, it's about fit. I just want to have a long career. Where it starts doesn't determine where I'm going to finish. And Jay, you've said that looking at Cam's numbers, he really did have a case here to be the #1 pick.
No question. And again, I think he's the best pure basketball player in the draft. He's skilled, he's physical, he knows how to play. Plays angles really well. He shot just under 40% from 3 on the season, made 54 of them, so it's a high volume to take a look at. So he can space the floor, he's excellent in the post, and then he can face up but he's an elite processor of the game, an excellent passer with a 25% assist rate. You can see here coming off a screen roll, a little pick and pop, and as he spins into the lane, he finds Caleb Foster with a difficult pass out of the lane to get the open shot, and that's something he did game in, game out. He had 22 double-doubles on the season, and he had 14 games where he led Duke, an outstanding team with a bunch of really good players, in scoring, rebounding, and assists in the same game. In fact, his worst game was 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists against a team that Duke blew out, and he didn't play the whole game.
This is a team in Memphis that's played undersized at the 4 with Santi Aldama, who can step out and shoot the basketball, but he's not a guy that you can play high-low action with. It's not his game. I think Cameron Boozer is going to make Zach Edey a better player, because you're going to be able to get into some high-low actions because of Boozer's passing ability and also his ability to step out, and at times if there's a cross match, get a center to extend against him so Edey has a size advantage inside. I just think it's a great pairing with that young front court.
Boozer also showed that he can come off of ball screen. So imagine Zach Edey setting a ball screen, Boozer coming off of the ball screen. You can run the offense through Cameron Boozer anywhere on the floor, facing the basket with his back to the basket. He has so much versatility and so much strength. Jay, you mentioned one of his worst games of the season. He also won game in the ACC championship, had 13 points, struggled from the field, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. He does everything.
And now he's with our Lisa Salters.
I am so happy for you guys. Like, I have known you guys since you were little, so I just feel so much happiness for you guys right now. But for you, Cameron, just, you've known this moment was coming, right? But what's it like when you finally hear the commissioner say your name?
I don't even know how to describe it, honestly, man. It's crazy. Instant happiness, instant joy, basically my whole life in a couple of seconds, so it was amazing for sure.
And Cece's over there trying not to cry. I'm going to get to you, Miss Cece. But first for you, Cam, you and your brother Caden, you guys came into the world with a purpose, and that was to save your older brother Carmani, who was battling sickle cell disease. You guys did that. And I know that this moment is your moment, but in your mind, how much of it belongs to your brothers as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's my moment, but it's our moment. You know, as a family, you see us all sitting here. You know, I wouldn't be here without any of these guys right here, and girls, of course, my mom. But, you know, it's just a great feeling to be here with them. They've been there with me every step of the way, so it's amazing for sure.
And Carmani, I know how tight all of you guys are. Just what's it mean to you to know that your brother, little guy, your little brother, probably a little taller though, but your little brother is the number 3 pick in the draft?
Being able to see everything he does, works hard, and then shows up, I couldn't be more proud of someone. And to be able to call my little brother is amazing.
And Miss Cece, I go back
that
to
little brother.
I go back to, you know, almost 20 years ago. You guys were dealing with so much fear and uncertainty at that time, and now here you are 19 years later, all of your boys are thriving. Like, how would you describe this journey to get here?
I think it's really just faith over fear. So, you know, we battled that adversity as a family, and now we get to celebrate as a family and be here to watch Cameron, and I just couldn't be more proud.
And Carlos, I just keep thinking of the kids in their 3 Bulls jerseys at the Heat game cheering for the Heat. That was hilarious. But what have you told Cameron about what to expect as an NBA rookie?
Yeah, first, just so proud of him, man. Like the dedication. You heard Carmani talk about it. His sacrifice. He shows up every single day. I'm just happy for him, man. Take each moment, enjoy each moment. Obviously, be where your feet are. This is something you've been waiting for your entire life, and go enjoy it, man. Go enjoy it.
Congratulations to all of you guys. I know this is a family affair. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Basketball runs in the Boozer family, and now the Chicago Bulls are on the clock. The pick is in, so let's send it back to the podium to see who the Chicago Bulls here are selecting with the number 4 overall pick.
With the 4th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Caleb Wilson from the University of North Carolina.
A big market fit for Caleb Wilson's big personality here. 6'9" forward out of UNC, headed to Chicago. I mean, you hear the music, right? That's a pipeline that has been successful before, and he shares this moment with his mom, Sabrina, his dad, Jerry, who coached him up until he was in 8th grade, and his 12-year-old sister, Jackson, who Caleb says he really wants to be a role model for, and he wants to continue to give her someone to look up to. But his season was cut short. He missed the final 9 games with some hand injuries. Now he uses that as motivation. But Bobby, you said that Wilson, he was one of the best pre-draft interviews you've ever done.
He was, and not just because he likes Fleetwood Mac and Legos like me,
like
but listen, when you get down and sit with him, you can talk about personally, you can talk about on the court, and certainly on the court, the ability to process information, the ability to read scouting reports, watch film, study opposing coaches here. I love everything about him. He is joining a front court of Montas Buzelis. They're going out and get a trade Nick Claxton here. That is the making of a front court with a new general manager in Bryson Graham.
Caleb Wilson is an elite competitor that has all the physical traits to stand out as a two-way player in the NBA. Long and fast first step, the overall combination of size, speed, quickness, bounce, athleticism, you name it. He's also plays with physicality. That'll help him make plays on both sides of the floor. My favorite thing, though, for him is his defense. On the ball, off the ball, in help side, he covers so much ground.
And does it oftentimes out of position where he makes these instinctive plays and recoveries. I think he's the most dynamic, certainly front court athlete in the draft. And there are times where it looks like he's stymied, where he just jumps up and punches it over you, and your jaw's on the floor. He's got a really good shooting touch on a turnaround jumper. He's not yet a three-point shooter. He shot under 30% from 3, but I think that's something that he can add, and he's relentless, hard worker, and he's got a dynamic personality as well. He draws people in, teammates, and Hubert Davis, his coach last year, has said if he ran for student body president, he'd win. If he ran for mayor of Chapel Hill, he'd win. He had the whole community on his side in a short period of time.
Yeah, well, and you hear about the personality. We're going to get to see it here. He's with our Lisa Salters.
Caleb, it was just about 10 years or so ago that you were an aspiring little hooper in Atlanta, going to Hawks camp, and now here you are, the number 4 pick in the NBA draft. How did that kid get here?
That kid got here by hard work, believing in himself, and having a great support system. You know, I stepped tunnel vision, kept working, and it's time to see red, man.
You broke your hand in February, and then you broke your right thumb in March. Just how is all that doing now?
It's doing great. It's doing great. I feel great, and I feel like that happened for a reason. You know, I'm grateful for the opportunity to play in the NBA, and I feel like if that would have never happened, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now.
And for you as parents, I know how proud you must be of your son, but not just for what he does on the basketball court. He didn't wait until he turned pro to start giving back. He's already done so much in his community in Atlanta. Just what does that say about your son?
It says how genuine of a person he is. He's a true lover of the community. He loves to give back and look out and help for as many kids as possible. It's just a genuine, true authenticity as a person.
Mom?
I feel the same way he does.
Congratulations to all of you guys. Enjoy the ride.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And now it's the Los Angeles Clippers that are on the clock. Remember, they got this pick. They held on to this pick through the Ivica Zubac deal. And you can see this is Los Angeles. There's a little watch party that's happening. And Bobby, we've sort of said that this is where the draft really starts here tonight.
Here it goes. Here we go with the guards.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. And I think there's a lot of different directions they can go. They can go Keaton Wagler, the guard from Illinois. They can go Michael Brown, Darius Acuff. 5 guards maybe in the next 5 or 6 picks here. And I think listen, I'm not going to put more pressure on the Clippers organization. I think this is the most important pick in Clipper history.
So he says, I'm not going to put any pressure on this.
But I'll just do it. Listen, where this organization is going, where they basically have turned the corner with youth, Darius Garland in, James Harden out. We'll see what happens with Kawhi Leonard. Potentially, certainly the aspiration case down the road that needs to be figured out here. But they are turning the corner. Veterans out, younger building blocks. I think they're going to get that at pick 5.
You mentioned Darius Acuff, but you also talk about they already have a bit of a small backcourt really in what they're building around. Is Acuff a fit here maybe for what the Clippers are trying to do?
I think Darius Acuff Jr. fits anywhere. He's the best scorer among these guards. He averaged 23 a game. and he can score in so many different ways, but he led the SEC in scoring and assists. I mean, he's a big-time player. It's hard to turn your eyes away from him.
But you really liked Keaton Wagler here as well, Andrea.
Yeah, when you think about Keaton Wagler and Darius Acuff, obviously a true talent, Keaton Wagler as well. But Keaton Wagler with his size, when you think about Darius Garland, Keaton Wagler being 6'5", he can play on the ball, he can play off the ball, and if you watch his game against Purdue and the way he put the team on his back, got big guys on an island and was able to shoot over them and then blow past them and hit mid-range shots. He can score in so many ways.
Yeah, Wagler's the guy if you want to play somebody off of playmakers. If you want another dynamic playmaker, you'd probably go with Acuff here.
Wagler's a lot like Tyrese Halliburton. He reminds me of him.
Tyrese Halliburton getting a lot of air today. So the pick is in. Let's send it back to the commissioner.
With the 5th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers select Keaton Wagler from the University of Illinois.
Keaton Wagler's mom, his dad, his sister, his brother, they all played basketball. This is a hoops family here, and you can see them sharing this moment. But Wagler, he's had a tremendous rise from back in high school where he ranked outside the top 100 to now being a top 5 pick. And his career really took off at Illinois, maybe in no bigger way than he was when he was a part of that scoring party of freshmen that we saw on January 24th. He had 46. That was the most points by a freshman in Illinois history. Andrea, you've been high on him for a while. When did you know that he could be this top 5 pick?
Well, I certainly knew it when he put up 46 at Purdue. I mean, that was clearly his coming out party, and when he let everybody know just how talented he was. And in that game, it was the 46 points, but at the end of the game, he had a pick and pop situation that he read correctly, and he got his teammate the ball. He had another pass to the corner to find his teammate for a 3. So his ability to score and put up 46 points and then still have the IQ to make the right plays down the stretch, that really blew me away.
And he can play on or off the ball, so he can operate as a point guard or as a shooting guard. He's an excellent shooter, makes great decisions, especially in pick and roll situations. It seemed almost impossible to speed him up. He played at his own pace, and that allows him the time to process things. But this little step back, he's an excellent shooter. And Andre, in that 46-point game, he hit 9 threes against Purdue on January 24th. But he can get to the rim and score. Very good passer, but his ability to change pace and change direction is really impressive. His vision is excellent. And this was a guy that was ranked outside the top 100 coming out of high school. I'd never really heard of him. And Tyler Underwood, Brad Underwood's son, is one that found him playing in Kansas. But this 46 piece he put on Purdue was masterful on a day where Kingston Flemings had 42 against Texas Tech, and A.J. Dybantsa put up 43 on that same day. Keaton Wagler, took home the prize with that 46. It was a remarkable performance. 13 of 17, including 9 threes in that game. Just a remarkable performance in Mackey Arena.
One of the things I love about him is, we know the shooting, but he played the second half of the year, he played a lot of point guard. His pick and roll decision making, which is what this league is all about, is outstanding. He's the biggest of this group of guards. I think that plays into his defensive potential as well, and I think he's going to fit in really well with the playmaking that they already have with the Clippers.
Let's hear from him. He's with Lisa Salters.
Keaton, how did you go from being unranked out of high school to the number 5 pick in the NBA draft?
I think it's just all the hard work that I put in and not worried about what anyone else said, just staying true to myself and not worrying about the rankings or anything like that, just continue to work hard and prove myself to show that I can play at this level.
And you told me that because of all that, you have played for the last couple of years with a chip on your shoulder because of how people overlooked you. Will you be wearing that same chip in the NBA?
I will. It's something that I can't change my mindset with. I got to continue to prove myself to show everyone that I belong here and can be one of the best players in this league.
Mom and Dad, I want you to take a look at this photo of the little guy wearing the Superman. You see that guy? Cute, right? There he is. There he is. Just what are you most proud of, Mom, about that little guy?
I'm just proud of him, just following his dreams and just being a great person. I'm very happy for him.
And Dad, what did people overlook or maybe underestimate about that little guy and what he could become?
Hey, he may have a baby face. He may look younger than most of these guys, but he's a killer on the court. We saw that from the day he was born. He's just a competitive kid. He's just wired that way, and I think just a lot of people overlook him because he's a little bit slight in build and a little bit younger looking in the face.
Look forward to watching you, Keaton, in the NBA. Congratulations to all of you guys.
Thank you.
You know what? Baby faces unite. I've looked 12 since I was 12, so I get it. Hey, Jay, let's check in here on your best available, because really that's what these teams are trying to identify. It's not always about fit. It's about who is the talent that they can grow.
Yeah, and the player you believe in the most, because they're a bunch of worthy candidates. And to Bobby's point, it's about guards right now. I mean, the guards seem to be the best. I feel like Pete Gillen. I love guards. I love crossing guards. I love lifeguards. I love security guards. Guards. So we're going to see a lot of guards coming up in the next 4 or 5 picks.
You also sound like Bobby, and how Bobby has sounded over the last couple of months. The smile on his face.
I know, they're making me like a proud papa right now. I don't want one of these bigs interrupting this right now. All guards right now.
When you're looking at this class of guards, and freshman guards, really, Bobby, earlier you compared them to the class of 1996.
Yeah.
Why is this reminiscent of that group?
Well, I mean, I think it certainly starts at Allen Iverson, and that's a player that Darius Acuff modeled after there, and it certainly has watched a lot here. And you see the Nets, who, my former team, they're
going to say, you've been in there.
That's a lot of happiness in that room here. So
there's a lot of joy that we're seeing from Sean Marks right in the middle, from Joe Tsai and the Nets. They seem to be thrilled with whatever selection they just made, and it's just about time for us to be clued in on the party. So let's go back to the podium and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the 6th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Michael Brown Jr. from the University of Louisville.
Brooklyn fans thrilled here in Barclays Center, and Michael Brown Jr., he was asked during the pre-draft process what he would tell his 10-year-old self. And he said that he would tell little Michael that we're close to the dream and we're so proud of how far we've come. And this is that dream realized as he hears the commissioner call his name. He describes himself as obsessed with watching basketball, and guards, Bobby in particular. He did deal with a back injury during the season. He missed some time, but the talent is so clearly there. We saw it February 9th when he put up 45 against NC State, 10 three-pointers, which tied a school record.
Well, and I think the big thing is you go back to last summer with Team USA. He was the best player there, and the coaches on that staff raved about him. The players on that team raved about him, and in the last 5 games at Louisville, 21 points, 45 from the field, and 42% from 3. A big guard, can do a little bit of everything. His dad, listen, we're talking about a lot of families. His dad has played an instrumental role in his development.
And teams were so impressed, Jay, during the pre-draft process with the workouts that they saw from him.
Yeah, he can absolutely score. Uber talented. He's got length, athleticism, great speed. He had the 3rd fastest agility time at the combine, and when he gets to the rim, because he's very good in screen and roll, and even though he only shot 35% from 3, made 55 threes on the year, he's a better shooter than the numbers indicate. But he does pass it well. There are times when you think he can make his teammates better even more than he does, but excellent in transition and a very creative finisher with either hand around the basket oversized. He did have that back issue. He played fewer games than Darryn Peterson did. But one of the games when he came back was the game you referenced against NC State, where he came back and had 45. There were rumors, he's going to shut it down and prepare for the draft, all that stuff. Then he comes back and gets 45, right. And then he wasn't able to play toward the end of the season. But the talent, undeniable.
He missed 14 total games, roughly a month in the middle of the season. Then he came back, and then he missed all of March again. But clearly that is not deterring the Brooklyn Nets and the talent that they see. And he's with our Lisa Salters.
Michael, you knew that you were going to be emotional when you heard your name. Just, can you describe to me what you're feeling right now?
I can't even put it into words. I'm just full of excitement.
you know, I'm home. I'm calling this home now, so I'm super excited.
3 months ago, you told me that your back felt so bad that you couldn't even get out of bed, and this dream, it was in doubt for you. So now that you're a first-round pick, what does it mean that you got through all of that adversity and you're here?
It means the world. You know, you got to face adversity at some point, and you know, it hit right then and there. And you know, I got a great supporting cast. You know, great parents, great coaching staff, great team, great teammates. They helped me out through that process, and you know, I feel better than ever now. So it's just surreal for me.
And for you, Mom and Dad, Michael said that because of the sacrifices that you guys made that he didn't even know you were making at the time, that he wouldn't even be here without the both of you. And he said, especially for you, Dad, that he wanted to share this moment with you. What does that mean to you?
It means the world. I think when you're a father, what you start to realize is the moment that your kid or you have your kids that are born, you realize it's no longer about you, and it's everybody that's in the house. It's about them first. Then it comes back to you, and I think that's what makes men men. You know, the ability to make sacrifice and put others before them for the greater good. So to see this moment, something that I've dreamed of even when I played, and I think the Most High just knew, like, hey, I'm gonna give it to someone that I know you care about more than yourself, and to give it to him, and couldn't be a better person for it to happen to. So it's exciting, and it's surreal.
Well, Michael, we are looking forward to watching you do your thing in this building, like you said. Welcome home.
Welcome home, absolutely. I'm home.
Welcome home is right for Michael Brown Jr. And now it's the Kings that have made their pick quickly. They still have time on the clock, and they said, no, we are ready. So let's send it back to Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the 7th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Darius Acuff Jr. from the University of Arkansas.
So Darius Acuff, the Bob Cousy Point Guard of the Year, joins the fraternity of John Calipari guards in the NBA. And this is really full circle because he's been selected by the Sacramento Kings. His father played point guard at Eastern Kentucky, and his dad's coach, Scott Perry, who's now in the front office for Sacramento. And I mean, if you look up the definition of an electrifying scorer, you're going to see that young man. Measured at 6'2" at the combine, already drawing comparisons to other greats of his stature. Allen Iverson dubbed Acuff the next him. And Jay, you've called him a walking bucket here.
Well, he's a creator. Averaged 23 points, over 6 assists. He was the only player in Division I to average over 20, over 6 assists, and shoot 44% from 3. He is powerful, compact, and he's got great speed. And his ability not only in transition, but to get to the basket and to finish plays. And he played hurt throughout the year. He had a toe problem. He was in a boot the second half of the year. He did a boot during the week, and John Calipari was trying to get him to take a game off, and he wouldn't do it. Didn't really have many bad games at all. But Darius Acuff Jr., lightning quick in transition, but just elite offensively. Can shoot it, can drive it, and an excellent passer that's got terrific vision. Really good in pick and roll situations, shot over 48% from the field. Very good in isolation as well, but the speed and the length that he has at 6'2", and the way he finished the year, his last 8 games, he averaged 26 points a game and shot 48% from 3. You know, the MVP of the Southeastern Conference tournament. He was absolutely unstoppable and played with some good players. You know, Malik Thomas is expected to be taken in the first round as well, Trevin Brazil, but Darius Acuff was the man. And look at this one. I mean, he's the only SEC player. He and Pete Maravich, the only players in the SEC to lead in scoring and assists in a single season. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's incredible company to keep. Acuff scored or assisted on just under 39 points per game. He led the country creating his offense.
He was appointment television during the tournament. Let's send it over to Lisa Salters.
Darius, you are blinging out right now. Just what makes this moment so special to you?
Very special. Just being here with them, seeing them smile, that's the best moment.
And Dad, you took him to the gym when he was just 4 years old. Just how did you know that he was born to play ball?
It was the look in his eyes. It was the look in his eyes when he first was born. His eyes lit up when you put the basketballs in his hands. So I knew it was something brewing.
I know you guys must be proud. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you, and congratulations to the Acuff family. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, it's the Atlanta Hawks that are on the clock. Here's the commissioner.
With the 8th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kingston Flemings from the University of Houston.
Kingston Flemings, the first Houston freshman to earn All-America honors. He is headed to the Hawks. Remember, this deal was as a part of the Derek Queen trade last year, but at the NBA level, defense is going to be his calling card. But shooting, it was a huge area of growth for him from high school to college. And Andrea, his breakout day was once again that same day that we saw several freshmen have these huge scoring performances. January 24th, something was in the water.
Yeah, something was going on there, and it definitely was for Kingston Flemings. It's fitting that his favorite player is Derrick Rose, because Kingston Flemings is a dynamic point guard with a high motor. He shifts defenders with his handle. He has a quick first step, and he has bounce. He can finish on his mid-range jump shots. He has soft touch, and he can also take it all the way to the rim. He's a great facilitator. He brings so much, and he talks with a sense of urgency. He plays with it as well.
They need additional guard talent in Atlanta, and they just got it because they don't have a lot of playmaking outside C.J. McCollum. He's going to provide some of that. He's a willing passer, but if you put a defensive lineup out there with Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Kingston Flemings, that's top tier in the NBA for ball pressure. He's going to a really good situation, a team that wants to win now.
And he's such a good mid-range scorer. He gets to his spots, and Andrea, you're right, like his speed and his quickness, really impressive. And when he gets into the mid-range and rises up, he's a deceptive athlete. I think he's an excellent athlete. Gets to the rim and finishes and does it with speed. He's improved his perimeter shooting. He shot just under 40% from three. He only took 105 or so, made 41. And that's like he's got an unorthodox shot. Like the hand position on the ball, I know he's working on it, but the shot goes in. Like, why do you mess with it? It goes in. But I think he can really guard, and he's tough. And the one thing, he never changes expression. Like, he's like Bjorn Borg out there. Like, he's ice all the time. And that 42-point game he had at Texas Tech, I thought it was remarkable. Like, it was a game in which they needed him to do something, and he stepped in and had that 42-piece. It was really impressive to watch.
And I love what Fran Fraschilla said when he said he chose the basketball equivalent of the Navy SEALs by choosing Houston. Kingston Flemings is with our Lisa Salters.
Kingston, tell me, as you're walking up to the stage to shake the commissioner's hand, just what thoughts go through your mind about the journey that got you here?
Yeah, like you said, the journey. I mean, putting in work, early mornings, late nights, my dad and my mom always working, so it feels great, but I'm just ready to work for Atlanta.
Now, Mr. D, you had Kingston and his sister Bella, who's also a star hooper. You had them write out goals. Just tell me, why did you think that was so important as you see him sitting here now as an NBA first-round draft pick?
I mean, ultimately, it was never about what I wanted. And I think our job as parents is to just guide our kids on how to achieve their goals, instead of placing our thought process on them and what we want for them. So they write down their goals, and then our job is to just keep pushing them towards that.
Mom, how proud of him are you right now?
I'm so proud. I always tell Kingston, little Kingston would be even more proud of what he's accomplished with the goals that he set forth so many years ago. And now today has come to fruition. This was his ultimate dream.
Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that Kingston, he published a letter today that was addressed to all the general managers in the NBA. I'd never seen that before, and now he's found his home here with the Atlanta Hawks. The Dallas Mavericks are on the clock, and it's been a week of change for them. As you can see, their new head coach, Dusty May, is in the building. He just won a national title with Michigan and now has made the jump over to the NBA here. You can see his resume. There is a possibility we could see one of his former Michigan players selected here to go to Dallas, join Cooper Flagg and Kyrie Irving. What's the first order of business going to be?
Well, I think you have to get a big. I do. I know you've got Kyrie Irving coming back. You could certainly go guard and have someone to back up Irving here. But I think when you look either at Jackson Lenneberg or Morez Johnson, those two players fits what Dallas needs here.
Look at our old buddy, Mike Schmitz, now, of course, the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, but he was on this desk with us, Bobby, not too long
ago. Was. Now he's making big decisions.
Making big decisions, helped select this head coach. Is there a style of play that you think Dallas is going to be looking at, Jay, under Dusty?
Well, yes. I mean, he's an excellent offensive coach, but you got a guard in the NBA. You look at what the Knicks did this last year with positional length and versatility on the wing, and that makes you start thinking, to Bobby's point, about a guy like Morez Johnson Jr.
Desperately needs shooting, but they also need size at the 4. They've been undersized for a while.
Well, they've made their selection here. That send it to the commissioner, who has the pick.
With the 9th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Morez Johnson Jr. from the University of Michigan.
Morez Johnson Jr. reuniting here with his head coach, Dusty May. You can see the excitement there. He started in all 40 games for Michigan, and all of his averages jumped from his freshman year at Illinois to his sophomore season at Michigan, and he chose Michigan in part because of the development for the NBA. Dusty May kind of looking like a proud pops there. This is a little bit of a homecoming moment here for him. There's going to be some familiar faces as he makes this leap as well. But Morez Johnson Jr., he had a double-double in the championship game against UConn. And Jay, you've called him one of the best front court defenders in this draft.
Yeah, maybe the best. I mean, he's a defensive weapon out on the floor. He's a powerful athlete that's relentless, and relentless is really hard to beat at any level. Shot 71% at the rim. He's 6'9", really strong, and he's got a 7'3" wingspan. So he can be a lob threat. He can be a screen and roll guy. He can operate out of the dunker spot. But as a defender, as a primary defender, his opponent shot 35% when he was the primary defender. He can switch onto a point guard, not just stay in front for a couple dribbles. He can guard that guy, get steals, block shots, and when he takes the ball to the basket, he can absorb a bump and still punch it on you. Just the most versatile defender, in my view, in this draft.
When I'm trying to think of notable players who have made the jump with their head coach, maybe Rick Pitino, Ron Mercer in the 1997 draft. That's all I'm coming up with, Bobby.
Well, and that's in farewell. So hopefully this pairing actually works a lot better. I think the one thing I like about he's got a nasty streak about him, Morez Johnson. And I think, well, as Jay said, when you go to a Dallas team that's undersized at the 4, you have P.J. Washington right now. You pair him with Cooper Flagg in there. That is certainly a big front court.
Legs, I know you said that Dallas needs shooting, but when you think about Morez Johnson Jr., he is working on his shooting. His shooting got better at Michigan, but he's an excellent cutter. He lets the offense come to him. He shot just under 70% at the rim and 90% on dunks, and that's why his teammates were so happy playing with him and now happy for him in this moment.
Yeah, his shooting stroke, when you look at his mechanics, to me, that lends itself to extending his range.
Yep.
But I'm looking at now defensively. When you put him next to Cooper Flagg, you talk about versatility in your front court, guys that can slide their feet but also play much bigger at the rim. P.J. Washington has been playing the 4 for them a lot. They finally have a guy that's 6'10" play there.
Really emotional here for his family. This is a dream that they've collectively been working toward, and now Morez is with Lisa.
Morez, how much do you think your coach had a little bit to do with this pick?
This is second day. I think he had a little bit, but not too much in this, but it's crazy, man. We got work to do. Back to work.
What does this moment mean to you?
This moment means a lot to me, man. I've been thinking about this since I was a little kid. Dallas always been a place I wanted to go, and it's insane that I'm actually going to Dallas.
And Dad, I can see what it means to you. Can you describe what you're feeling right now?
Man, it's amazing. It's amazing. We work hard for it, though, real hard.
And you told him back in 6th grade when he was doubting himself a little bit, that you told him what he had to do to make his dreams come true. What was his what was your message to him?
Just work hard, keep working, outwork everybody, and you will make it.
And he was saying, like, ignore all the outside noise. You're going to catch up to him later. I remember that.
So what do you think about following Coach May to Dallas now?
Man, it's insane. The Michigan Mavs now. But I'm very grateful for this opportunity, man, and I'm excited to do it with my coach. We won together this past season. I'm looking forward to winning with him in the Mavs when I get there.
Looking forward to seeing you in the NBA. Congratulations to you all.
Mom she says, I am so happy. I am so happy. And she should be. Her son on his way to the Dallas Mavericks here. I love the joy. We've seen the full range of emotion, the tears, the dancing, and you know what? She deserves it all. I like the Maverick, the Michigan Mavs. That's gonna catch on here. The Michigan Mavs are striking in Dallas. Now though, it's the Milwaukee Bucks who are on the clock legs, and they have had a busy last 24 hours. Seems like youth still having the players to be able to figure out some way to compete, but also building through the draft is their priority.
Yeah, look, you're talking about reinventing yourself and what was the face of the franchise in this one particular style and way of playing. They're changing all of that overnight. Now, to me, they need some wing talent, and they need guys that can defend, because you've got to change now the identity, I think, of how you're going to approach going about winning. I think this pick with Morez Johnson now shakes up what's about to happen for these next few picks.
Well, and they're going to have two cracks at it at 10 and 13 here, so you're going to get two good players. The one thing with Giannis not on the roster anymore, this is going to be the only player at 10 who's been drafted in the first round that Milwaukee will have on the roster, and he will soon be joined by somebody at pick 13. Ferris at 10, Lendenberg at 10, Demara at 10. Like there's a lot of different variables you can go here.
Do I hear you advocating to break up your run of guards, or you already saw it once? Or
no, it's back. We got to get it back on track.
All right, Bobby's saying let's get it back on track to the guards in his mind. But Milwaukee, again, this is an important decision as they look to turn the page from the Giannis Antetokounmpo chapter in franchise history. The clock is ticking down. The pick should be in imminently. As we take a look here at Nate Ament, could he be a selection? Bobby's saying, well, you know, that doesn't go with the run of guards, but a lot of talent and really malleable.
Well, and it's certainly with Ament as far as a big wing. And I think when you're looking at Milwaukee's roster here, there's no Bobby Portis. Kyle Kuzma's on his last year of his contract. They went out and got Jaime Jaquez and Khalil Ware here. I think he would fit with this group here just based on the style that he plays.
This is a very different draft for the Milwaukee Bucks than they've made in years past. The pick is in. Let's send it back to the podium and find out who will be the newest member of the Milwaukee Bucks.
With the 10th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Braden Burries from the University of Arizona.
After helping Arizona get to the Final Four, Braden Burries is on his way to Milwaukee, and I'm half surprised, guys, that his family didn't show up here today with those famous T-shirts with his face on them that they wore all season long to his games, which I just love. But Burries, he led Arizona in scoring, just over 16 a game, and his college coach, Tommy Lloyd, describes him as a laid-back, unassuming guy, and it makes sense because he listens to gospel music before games to calm him down, and Bobby, you've called him the silent assassin.
Well, I do. I mean, I got to sit down with him and talk, and he was a man of few words here, but the one thing I did learn is that he loved watching those Chicago Bulls teams back in the day of Tom Thibodeau, and now he's a stone throw away in Milwaukee here, and here is a big guard, 6'4", 215, grab and go, offensive rebounder here. He's got some toughness with him.
What does a Burries hero backcourt start to look like?
Two guys that can really shoot it and have some toughness to them. And, you know, Braden Burries is from San Bernardino. Really good player in high school, very highly regarded. But this last year, he was number 3 in the country in plus-minus behind Yaxel Lendeborg of Michigan and Cameron Boozer of Duke. He impacts winning. He's a smooth shooter, very skilled, fundamentally sound, and he's got really good speed. And he makes really impressive plays at both ends of the floor. I mean, the scoring stands out, his open court ability, but he makes defensive plays. He had a huge block at the end of the game against BYU on the road that wound up saving the game when BYU made an amazing comeback. But he's an instinctive defender, gets steals, and he makes the play that's required. DeAndre Ayton was the only freshman at Arizona that scored more points in his first year than Braden Burries did, and he did it on a Final Four team. He's a really good player, and he's got no memory. Like, once he does something, it's in his rearview mirror. He doesn't think about it. He's on to the next thing.
Which is a perfect segue, Jay, because what stands out to me the most when I think about Braden Burries is his strength, not just physically, but mentally. And if you look at the start to his season, this, like you said, Jay, he put it behind him. In November, 10 points per game. He struggled against Florida. He struggled against UConn. He was in single digits. Did not matter. He turned the page, and he was dominant from December to April to help lead one of the best teams in the country. Mentally, physically, he is a very strong player.
Braden Burries is with Lisa Salters.
Braden, you've said that this game is bigger than you and that you have to have multiple whys to play it. Just what were some of the whys for you wanting this moment?
Some of my whys would just say, like, I want to take care of my family. I want to inspire the younger generation that's next to come. And also I want to be something that's bigger than myself, and just try to strive to be the best version of myself each and every day.
And you've told your dad that this moment is ours. You said that both of your parents helped get you here, but you said especially for your dad, this moment is ours. Why do you say that?
Because, he grew up playing basketball, same with my mom. And I just want to make sure that they know that they can live through me. And I just try to make them happy every single day.
Mr. Bobby, what does it mean to you to hear him say that?
To be honest with you,
that the moment belongs to both of you, that him being here belongs to both of you.
Oh, man, it's an honor, man. He put a lot of hard work in, a lot of sacrifice. He could have went down the wrong way, not listened. He really respectful, great character, and we really appreciate it.
Miss Hannah, what kind of person are the Bucks getting in your son?
Wow, somebody with a lot of integrity, who is a hard worker, who is dedicated, honest, has great character, and he's going to give his all out there.
Well, we look forward to watching him in the NBA. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. And he's a juggler. I don't know how else to get that in the show, but I felt like I needed to get that hobby in. All right, it is the Golden State Warriors, my hometown, that is on the clock here. Let's just take some stock in where Golden State is at here. Their record last year, 37-45, the second fewest wins in the Steve Kerr era. And they were eliminated by the Phoenix Suns in the play-in tournament. They missed the playoffs for the second time in the last 3 seasons. And this is after a lot of injuries. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler missed 83 games. And Jimmy Butler, that injury, of course, Bobby, will continue into next season. So we've heard a lot about 2 timelines for the Golden State Warriors. How do they continue to maximize Steph Curry while also building towards the future? They're tasked with that once again.
Well, and they are. And I think where they go at number 11 is a player that can help them right now. I think it's not a developmental project. I think certainly Yaxel Lendeborg, I think fits. I think that is the perfect. I think they need size. I think they need a mature rookie that can come in there and give you consistent minutes with this group, because that is a position of need right now.
I think Lendeborg's the pick because they have been playing undersized on the wing for several years now, and it's just not good enough. And because he's more advanced, he's more mature, you can step him in immediately on opening night. With his versatility, he can do a lot of things for you. He's also got the IQ to play in that type of system, which requires you to read all of those guard splits, run a lot of dribble handoff. I think that would be an ideal pick for Golden State.
And he plays both ends of the floor. He's got great length. I mean, he's a plug-and-play guy. He's going to be 24 by the time the season starts.
Right.
And some people think that's a negative for him for the long term, but for Golden State, they want to win right now. And you can plug him in, he'll fit in great.
Tim Legler does make a good point, though. That might be the first time in my life I've ever called you Tim Legler just as a
I know. I don't even know who you're talking about right now.
Usually it's just Legs.
Yes.
But Legs, you make a good point in that Golden State has a patented system here. You come in to plug, play, and fit into a system that has worked around Steph Curry for a very long time.
Well, look at Jonathan Kuminga's in Atlanta now for that exact reason, because he had all the talent, but he didn't necessarily fit in efficiently with what they wanted to do offensively. I think you have to be of a certain mindset to play there.
When you think about joining a team that is ready to win and having to adjust and learn on the fly, Yaxel Lindeborg, he's had such a long journey from junior college to the mid-majors to Michigan. He has had to adjust throughout his entire career, and he has found success every step of the way. So going to a team that is ready to win and being able to make those adjustments, I believe he could do it.
Golden State really looking to try to continue to figure out how they wait for Jimmy Butler, because it seems like, Bobby, Jimmy will be on their roster here moving forward. There was some conversation as to whether or not they would try to maybe package him in some sort of deal for a player like Giannis, who obviously is off the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're looking probably after New Year's, I would think, as far as the Jimmy Butler. And Moses Moody, too, is another player that ended the season injured. And now you've got Draymond Green coming up with a player option on the 29th that he can either opt in or become a potential free agent here. So it's a win-now team that needs win-now players.
Yeah, it's a win-now team in a conference that has only gotten more difficult since they had that run through the 2010s. We expect Draymond Green to opt into that player option?
I would expect him back in Golden State, one way or another. If he opts in, certainly I think you can opt out and maybe give him a little bit of flexibility and maybe another year as a reward.
Well, and we know that they, after some conversations, Steve Kerr is back there as their head coach. So who will be the newest member of the Golden State Warriors? Let's find out together.
With the 11th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Yaxel Lindeborg from the University of Michigan.
You know Yaxel as a national champion and the Big Ten Player of the Year. But Yaxel and the woman standing beside him today are one of the remarkable stories of the draft, and you can see the emotion here. But Yaxel credits his mother, Giselle, with saving his life when he was struggling in high school, and he told me that when he walks across the stage, he wants people to know that there were so many times, he said, that it was hard for me to believe in myself, and he was close to giving up. And this woman, Giselle, it was his mom, who used to call him every single draft night and ask him, are you watching? Because someday this could be you, and someday this could be us. And Yaxel found out that his mom had appendix cancer last fall, and she's still in that fight, but he told me that this moment is for her. You can see that here. A tremendous story, Jay, and a tremendous player.
He's an outstanding player. You know, he started his career in junior college at Arizona Western. He's a two-time JUCO All-American, went to UAB. And last year at UAB, there were two players that led their teams in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. It was Cooper Flagg at Duke and Yaxel Lindeborg at UAB. Then he goes to Michigan, and he was second in the nation he led the nation in plus-minus, second in win shares. He's a winner and improved his three-point shooting. He made 67 threes this year. That's more than the prior 2 years combined. You know, they say Swiss Army knife with his versatility, but I said last night he's a Swiss Army tank because he's built like a tank. He's got a 7'3" wingspan, so he impacts the game at both ends of the floor. Versatility as a playmaker, his second jump ability. He's an excellent defender. He's a 3 and D wing that can operate in pick and rolls. In his last 5 games this season, including playing hurt in the championship game against UConn, he averaged 20 points, shot 62% from the field, and 43% from 3. And gutting it out in that title game was really impressive.
Yeah.
But here he is at UAB leading his team in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. He and Cooper Flagg. And he's still, even though he's going to be 24 in September, I believe it is, he's still kind of younger in his development, and he keeps getting better. He keeps adding to his game, and culminating with the national championship this last year. But his ability to play both ends of the floor makes him really a perfect fit to go to the Warriors. They have to be really excited to get somebody like Axel Lindenborg.
He's strong, mobile, moves well laterally, he competes defensively and on the glass. Another thing about Yaxel as well, he plays with so much joy. It's just this infectious joy that spreads to his teammates. I love watching this moment with his mom, because Yaxel's an incredible story of what can happen when you make sacrifices and you're uncomfortable. He's from New Jersey. His mom said, "You're going to Arizona to junior college, figure it out," and he did.
Yeah, he did, with a little push from mom, which I think all of us have needed at different points. And now Yaxel is with Lisa.
I can see you're both still feeling it. Just describe to me, Yaxel, what's going through your heart right now?
Every emotion possible. You know, I don't deserve to be here right now. Didn't have the traditional path. You know, this is like, I'm really, I can't believe it.
You deserve to be here, but I saw you share we all saw you share a long, tearful hug with your mother when you heard your name announced. Just what was she saying to you?
She was saying, we did it. All the sacrifice that we made, we finally accomplished it. You did it. She's proud of me, and she's so excited.
Just 6 years ago, you said you were kind of lost. You didn't see a future for yourself. Just how did that kid get here?
That kid got here because of her. She pushed a dream, forced me to go out there and step into the world and become a man. You know, I had no choice but to go out there and do the best I could. So I vowed every day to be a better man, be a better person, and just do the best I can for her. So everything I do.
And now your mom is facing a challenge of her own, battling cancer. Just how special is it to be sharing this moment with her?
It means everything to me. That's the least I could do for her. You know, she's done so much for me. She's put her whole life on hold for my life, and I'm super proud of her for fighting so hard, and I'm glad we get to share this moment together.
Miss Giselle, how are you feeling right now? How are you doing?
Right now, I feel so blessed. It's a dream come true for us, for Yaxel, and I think he deserves it because he sacrificed a lot.
How did you know that kid who seemed lost, how did you know that this is who he could be?
How did you know?
Because I know he has very potential. He was an amazing kid, and I know he's gonna be great. And he has a dream. It's a dream come true. He wanna be NBA. He's in NBA right now.
You deserve to be here. We wish you nothing but the best, Miss Giselle.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because moms know.
They just know.
Because there is a kid right now who is watching the NBA draft, or maybe has it on in their background, and their parents are watching, and they're trying to figure it out, who they are, how they fit, what they want to do, or who they want to be. And maybe they're a little lost, they don't know, and their parent is saying, well, this is the path. And it's always hard when you're a kid to listen to your parents, but Giselle and the Lindenborgs are a testament to believing in yourself, persevering, pushing through, and good things happen. And as Lisa said, we're certainly wishing Giselle all the best in her journey right now through battling cancer as well. With that, it is the Oklahoma City Thunder that are on the clock. The pick is in. Let's send it back to the commissioner.
With the 12th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Adai Mara from Zaragoza, Spain, and the University of Michigan.
Another national champion coming off the board and headed to the NBA. Our draft expert, Jeremy Wu, has called Mara the most skilled center in this draft. And his measurables at the combine, they were so impressive. 7'3" with a 9'9" standing reach, 7'6" wingspan. He's an excellent passer for his size, which makes sense because he says he studies Nikola Jokic's decision-making. But defense, shot blocking, legs, that's his calling card.
That is, and also he's a guy that you can really trust with the basketball to go to the right place for dribble handoffs, excellent at reading cutters. Now that offense lends itself to it. For as many traps as SGA sees, there's a lot of short roll action, a lot of balls get kicked back to the screener, and then you trust to go make a play. He can do that, and then very agile, great rim protector. He's a guy that can do a lot of things defensively to help you on the back end.
Oh, I'm just looking at the measurables, and somebody else who's in the conference, Jay, that Oklahoma City struggled with, not at full strength last year. Could he be someone that they try to task with stopping a Victor Wembanyama?
Well, that's the obstacle in their way to the finals out of the Western Conference. And with that wingspan he has of 7'6", 7'7".
It's a priority. They get Burries now. They get Amen. They've done a nice job filling that need.
I like that we got to see the moment that he found out. And Nate Amen is with our Lisa Salters.
Nate, first I want to ask you, when you got drafted, we saw you on the phone. Like, who were you talking to?
Talking to the Milwaukee staff. Super excited to have me. Met with those guys a couple of times, so we're super excited.
Now, you've said that no one gets to decide the type of player that you are, only you. Just when did you decide that you wanted to be an NBA first-round draft pick?
I would say probably my, when I first started playing basketball with my brothers at the park, just realizing how much the game means to me, but how much it brought us closer together.
And this is your moment, I know, but I know that you also wanted to share it with your mom because of everything that you went through, just your difficult journey from Rwanda to the United States. Just what has your mom taught you about, what was going to be necessary to achieve something like this?
Yeah, I can get emotional speaking about it, but she's always supported me, believed in me. Just seeing like the resilience and strength through it all just meant a lot. So.
Ms. Godelieb, you escaped civil war in your home country. I'm told that you worked 3 nursing jobs to help the family. How did watching Nate walk across that stage, shaking the commissioner's hand, how did it make all of that worth it?
So happy.
Hold your mic up for me.
Make me feel very happy. I think he's a very good kid. He did everything I told him to. We told him to. He listened, and he's a great kid. That's make it easy for me as a mom.
Well, congratulations to all of you. Enjoy it.
Lisa, thank you. So Nate Amen on his way here to the Milwaukee Bucks. Eventually they'll get him a new jazzy. The hats this year bedazzled. They look a little bit sparkly. The one that has the Milwaukee Bucks logo on it. And you can see here, this is a part of the trade that sent Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Miami Heat, and in exchange sent a collection of players to the Milwaukee Bucks. It feels like the Bucks here are in a really good position, Bobby, to move forward.
They're in a great position. I think the ability to retool their roster, and certainly the players that are coming in from Miami with led by Tyler Hero and then Braden Barris and then Nate Amen. There's a little bit of wiggle room as far as what they can do in free agency here, but I think this is a great starting point. This is one of the older teams that all of a sudden got a lot younger.
Let's bring in our senior insider, Shams Charania, who broke the news of this trade. Shams, what is the residual shrapnel that we could still see from this trade moving forward, and how are the Milwaukee Bucks feeling after these moves?
Look, I think there's a sigh of relief everywhere in Milwaukee in those offices, because this last 8-week period was just about finding alignment within that organization and moving forward from ownership, Jimmy Haslam, Wes Edens, to general manager John Horst. It was about turning the page on the Giannis Antetokounmpo era. It was a 13-month odyssey saga for this franchise, and now they end up with 3 first-round picks, all unprotected. Tonight they get Nate Amen, and then they have 1 pick swap, which is far out in 2030, and then a far out second-round pick as well. But the calls are continuing to come in. These players that the Bucks have: Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Kasparis Yakashonis, Jaime Jaquez. The Bucks are getting a ton of interest on these players, and that just shows the value that they all have via this trade as well.
Are we expecting any of those players to be on the move again here, Shams?
Right now, the Bucks traded for them to keep them. But listen, if someone comes in with a out-of-this-world offer, it would not surprise me if the Bucks do something on any one of these guys. But they traded for these guys, they targeted these guys to keep them.
Yeah, John Horst, certainly, he's no stranger to making big moves here. All right, it's the Charlotte Hornets. After a resurgent year that are on the clock, the pick is in. Let's send it back to the podium.
we have a trade to announce. As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Miami Heat are trading to Milwaukee Bucks the draft rights to Nate Ament, the 13th pick. And with the 14th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Hannes Steinbach from Würzburg, Germany, and the University of Washington.
Hannes followed that German pipeline to the University of Washington and is now headed to Charlotte. And he played professionally in Germany before coming to Washington. His father, as you can see, was actually teammates with Dirk Nowitzki in Germany. And Steinbach, he met Dirk, he interacted with him when he was a kid, hung around his dad's practices. And Steinbach, he told our Bobby Marks that he believes his rebounding can keep him in the NBA legs for the next decade.
And there's no doubt, and they need that in Charlotte. Look, this is a prolific offensive team. They can light it up with anybody. They need some front court depth. They needed a guy like this that can go get the basketball. He's strong, very difficult to root out once he gets positioned. Tough, hard-nosed is exactly what the front court needed in Charlotte to go with all of that shot-making ability.
Well, when we talk about the German lineage at the University of Washington, he relied a lot on Detlef Schrempf. That is the person that, as far as took him under his wing here, and as you mentioned, his dad played with Dirk Nowitzki. 4.8 offensive rebounds per game, high level.
He's got huge hands, too. And to your point, Legs, about rooting him out, his lower body strength is really impressive. But with those great hands and strength made him the nation's leading rebounder. He's the first freshman to lead the country in rebounding since Michael Beasley did that at Kansas State. He can post. He can step away and shoot it a little bit. He made 18 threes this year, shot about 35% from three. Good court sense. But that rebounding piece, he had 24 rebounds in a game earlier this year against USC, and he's got multiple effort plays, and he's a quick jumper with second jump ability. But that German pipeline you talk about, not just Detlef Schrempf, but Christian Phelps, who played in the 80s with Detlef Schrempf, two great German players.
And you can see Burkhard Steinbach, that's Hannes' father, with Dirk there as former teammates, and now Hannes is with our Lisa Salters.
Hannes, you were the first freshman since 2008 to lead the nation in rebounding. Other than being tall, which you are, just what are the Hornets getting in you that makes you such an elite rebounder?
I think just my energy to always go to the ball, always crash the fence spot, always want to finish the play on defense, and just my intuition and reading the glass.
Now we have a message from a very special friend we want you to take a listen to.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got to ask, sir, if he didn't get his skills from you, where did he get them from?
From the mother.
Okay, that makes sense. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a family affair there for the Steinbach family. That is a good sense of humor. We apologize for the audio difficulties that we had there. But coming up next, AJ Dybantsa, the #1 pick, is joining us here on set. That's coming up after the break.
What is that?
Dr. Laura.
They look kind of cute. The stories are true.
The story has just begun.
We know the
Disney's Moana, rated PG, in theaters July 10th.
When I dance, I fix my step. When I dance, I'm not upset. Sometimes I dance off key to keep my devils guessing. A beat for when I'm broken, heartbroken. Every day's a battle. A rhythm is my weapon. Rhythm is the weapon. my weapon.
There's reading the reviews. And then there's experiencing the meal with Platinum. Get access to Platinum Nights by Resy. Dining benefits at over 10,000 U.S. Resy restaurants. And up to $400 back annually on eligible Resy purchases. So go ahead and order the chef special. For a life like no other, you need a card like no other. There's nothing like Platinum.
This is Mission Control.
Ignition sequence start.
The code awaits your command. You are about to enter the edge of all possibility. Everything is ahead of you.
My lawn tour continues. Let's see who we meet next. Hello! You have a great lawn, my friend. Thank you very much.
I use the good fertilizer. You know what we use?
Oh, tell them.
Turf builder.
Turf builder. It's summer. What's the challenges now?
It's important to feed in the summer because that's when it's the hottest. A lawn with good feed is more likely to retain the moisture.
And the grass stays nice and green all summer long.
Hey, baby. Thanks for the summers.
Defend against heat stress and insects with Turf Builder Summer Guard.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Yes, no, Panera has a new thing called a salad stuffer. It's amazing. It's like salad stuffed in a soft Italian roll. No, it's like stuffed in the roll. Hey. New salad stuffers, only at Panera.
Why aren't you toasting your marshmallow?
Because I like it gooey.
Okay, listen. Renamen like it toasted. You stick the chocolate on the graham cracker and the toasty marshmallow on top. Kind of famous for it.
You're famous?
Nothing makes a s'more like Hershey's chocolate.
Turn up your summer with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea fans love the smooth, refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Made with real brewed tea and a 5% kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Centre Court. Quiet, please. Wimbledon begins Monday on ESPN, Disney Plus, and the ESPN app.
Oh, we did it. We did it. I love you. I got you, Ma. So, yeah. Appreciate it, bro. Boy, congrats, man. Congrats. What's up, Mama?
How do you?
I love you. You crying?
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Those are the sights, the sounds of draft night so far, but right now it's the Chicago Bulls that are back on the clock here at pick number 15, and they've made their selection. Here's NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the 15th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Darryn Swain from the University of Texas.
Darryn Swain played his first 2 years at Xavier before following his head coach, Sean Miller, to Texas, where he became the SEC Newcomer of the Year. He led Texas in scoring, in rebounds, assists, steals, and his first memories of the NBA are watching Russ, KD, James Harden, and our guy Big Perk in Oklahoma City. And I do love this. He says that he uses his NIL money. You can see this is just so emotional for him. He used his NIL money to pay off his mom's college debt, which is just so incredibly special and a testament to who this young man is, Jay.
Yeah, you mentioned, Malika, he led his team, Texas, in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals. He was the only major conference player to do that. He averaged 17 points, just under 8 rebounds, and just under 4 assists per game. Great versatility. He's got good skills and good athleticism. But most of his scoring is below the rim, but he can slash, get downhill, very good in transition, and he's tough. He's a really good cutter and crashes the glass. The one thing that he needs to improve upon is his three-point shooting consistency. Shot under 30% from three for his career. And I think he can improve his lateral quickness, but he's a tough-minded wing that can get to the rim and really move in transition.
Good finisher. I think the shooting is going to be the big leap for him. And this is one of the biggest jumps up we have right now from where he was expected to go to where he ultimately was picked. So we know this is beauty in the eye of the beholder when it comes to some of these picks. I think there's a lot of room for growth with Dalen Swain, without question. I was wondering if they were going to go with a lead guard here. I think that was definitely a need, but clearly they see a lot of potential upside here.
Well, upside, he plays with a ton of toughness, great rebounder, 7.5 rebounds per game, and a super athlete.
And now is on his way to the Chicago Bulls. But now here, as the Memphis Grizzlies are on the clock, we are joined by AJ Dybantsa. I was almost going to say from BYU, but now officially we get to say of the Washington Wizards. AJ, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for joining us. This has, I'm sure, been a whirlwind, but you said to me yesterday that you have been #1 in high school, you were #1 in college, and you had no thought of dropping, is how you put it now. So how did this feel? And then also, when did you know? When did you get the call?
I mean, I found out when y'all found out. I didn't get a call. My dad had my phone the whole time. So when they said the pick was in, I was just hoping that it was me. And, you know, Adam Silver called my name, and I was just super excited.
And that's how you wanted it to be, right? To live in the moment, to not get some tip from an agent or a call from a front office. You wanted it to be Adam Silver who gave you this dream moment.
Exactly. Exactly how I wanted it.
And how did it live up to how you pictured it?
It's just super surreal. It's kind of how you envision it. Like when you're a kid and you just think about getting drafted, it's exactly how you feel.
I know you want to flip the page very quickly. You're already looking forward to Summer League and putting in the work. Who is the Washington Wizards? Who are they getting? And how are we going to be talking about you 10 years from now?
I mean, they're getting a super versatile player. Just willing to play multiple positions, guard multiple positions, but do whatever it takes to win. Just a coach's dream, I think.
What do you think, AJ, that you need to improve upon as you mature as an NBA player?
Probably just off-ball defense, just being more engaged and just consistently working on my three-point stroke.
I know one area that you've talked about improving in this past season was your leadership, especially when Richie Saunders went down. How did you grow as a leader at BYU?
I think I did. As soon as Richie went down, KY kind of challenged me to be that leader. You know, I'm not going to lie, I didn't think I can do it. Because I was a young guy, I was 19, and there's like 24-year-olds on my team. But he was telling me, like, if you go to the league next year, this is what you're going to be dealing with, so you might as well get used to it now.
I played in Washington a long time ago, longer than I'd like to admit, by the way. But they will get behind a team. They will get behind a team, and I think you're the kind of guy that can do that with them. What do you know about, like, their personnel? They've got a lot of young guys, a lot of lottery picks on that roster. What do you know about their style and how you're going to fit with the guys they currently have?
I mean, definitely after re-signing Trey, I mean, they have an all-star point guard and then AD coming back. I mean, they're going to have an all-star big who won a championship, so I definitely can learn from those vets. But, I mean, you're a young team and they want to grow and their potential is there. And I think the sky's the limit.
I know that your pops has had your phone, but have you heard yet from AD, from Trey? Have the text started rolling in yet?
I heard from Alex Carr and Keyshawn George.
Okay, what was their message?
They're just saying, like, enjoy the moment. I mean, they remember being in my shoes, and they just can't wait for me to get to D.C.
Yeah, it's certainly a close-knit group that's forming there in Washington. And before we go, we have a very special surprise here from you, from our friends at Topps. This is the very first NBA trading card. Your very first one. You gonna sign it?
I gotta sign it.
Let's do it. Live on the air.
Pressure, some pressure.
That's a nice John Hancock that he's got there. This is the very first NBA trading card. Let's see it.
There you go.
All right. And what does it say at the bottom there?
First NBA auto.
My first
NBA auto.
All right.
AJ, your message to Washington Wizards fans that are watching right now.
I'm just ready to come to the city, just work. I'm just work ready. I think we can do big things.
We're ready. I am so excited for you, happy for you, and I gotta say, my friend, your lineup is clean.
Crispy.
Yeah.
Crispy. Shout out Mario, my barber.
Crispy. How many haircuts in the last
3 haircuts in 2 days.
There it is.
Yeah.
Is that a record?
That's my record.
That's Jay's record.
I had the same today.
The same thing. AJ, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate it. In the meantime, it's the Memphis Grizzlies that have been on the clock that have made their selection here. Let's send it back to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the 16th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Bennett Sturtz from the University of Iowa.
Bennett Sturtz has had such a unique rise to the NBA. He didn't receive any Division I scholarship offers, and now he's a first-round pick. And at Iowa, he led them to the Elite Eight this past year. That's the furthest they have gone in the NCAA tournament in 39 years. All smiles here for his family. And Jay, you called Sturtz your top sleeper maybe in this draft.
Yeah, he can really shoot it, Malika. And he's excellent in pick-and-roll situations. But that deep range, his footwork, he uses fakes really well, he uses deception. But his decision-making in pick and rolls, when he was in a pick and roll, he averaged 18 points per game out of those with scoring and assists that he was able to create. You know, there are certainly questions about the defensive profile, but I always thought back, Lakes and I were talking about this before the draft started, I always thought back to like Kyle Korver. I remember when Korver came out of Creighton, you know, people were questioning his defense. What, he played 15 years in the league?
Right.
You know, when you can shoot it like Sturtz can shoot it, you're going to be okay.
And we should mention here, our Shams Charania just reported that Memphis is trading Bennett Sturtz to the Oklahoma City Thunder here for 2 second-round picks. So again, right now he is putting on the Memphis hat, Jay, but he is headed to Oklahoma City Thunder as we dive into the tape.
Well, it kind of fits Oklahoma City with their drafting of skill and character, and he'll fit into that system extraordinarily well. We talked about his shooting. You know, he shot 36% from three this last year, and he made like 92 of them. The thing that kind of amazes you about Bennett Sturtz, he never comes out of the game. You know, he led the nation in minutes played, and he played 40 minutes or more in every NCAA tournament game that he played. I mean, he's an Iron Man.
One of the things you love here, you're looking at Oklahoma City, you kind of trust their talent evaluation, so you know you're in good hands here. They tend to get them right. I think his IQ fits with what they want to do. And to Jay's point, you talk about him defensively. Well, this is a team that's got the defensive infrastructure around a guy like this that can space the floor, make great decisions, and make people better with his passing.
Oklahoma City still on the clock here once again. So Bennett Sturtz on his way to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, we know, likes to collect these picks. They're on the clock here, Bobby, as we roll to number 17.
Well, I mean, I think this has a lot to do with where some of their finances are right now, where you can collect some of these young players on these inexpensive contracts here. Certainly at Sturtz with this pick here, and I think there's probably going to be another move for Oklahoma City. And I said it before the draft started. I think they weren't going to make a trade. They did. So my bold prediction is wrong here. But I do think how Sturtz fits in, I think it's perfect.
But I appreciate that you went bold here. All right, so it says Oklahoma City. Let's just take a breath here because picks are flying, and I'm trying to keep up with our Shams Charania here, who's reporting these at lightning speed. So this pick is on its way to Memphis, and they flip-flopped here. So it says OKC, this is Memphis, and then Bennett Sturtz is headed to Oklahoma City.
So basically the cost of moving up one slot that Oklahoma City did cost them 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And basically Memphis just moves back here.
And so for Oklahoma City, since we are seeing their logo, even though they're not making the pick, earlier we saw them take a Dybantsa. Does that mean that we're going to see Isaiah Hartenstein continue on this team?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's still going to be on the team. I think it depends on what the number is going to be. He's got a player option that they have to, him and Lou Dort by
This is insurance.
Yeah, by June 29th. And I think if it's, whether it be on the last year of his contract or maybe they decline the option and sign him for a contract at a lesser number, he is still valuable to this Thunder team.
Incredibly valuable to this team, especially as they're trying to have a double big option, be able to have all, and we saw that little push shot that he had became one of the most valuable shots for the Oklahoma City Thunder down the stretch.
Release the doves. Release the doves.
Exactly.
It ends up at the bottom of the net more often than not.
Exactly, and it was a beautiful touch that he had there. But now this pick is actually going to Memphis, and the big question for Memphis is what's next with Ja Morant.
Well, that's the big thing, right? He's got 2 years left on his deal. They tried to make a deal at the deadline. They couldn't find a trade suitor here. He's going to be, I always say, when you get into the offseason, the value of the player gets a little bit more appealing to them because there's no games going on. Ja Morant is not on the injured list right now, and I think there are teams out there, potentially a team like New Orleans, that needs a guard.
And if you're talking about guards that could potentially go to Memphis, you've got 3 great options, a ton of options, but Cameron Carr, Christian Anderson, LeBaron Philon. Those would be the 3 that I would have my eye on for this pick that is going to Memphis.
Yeah, Cameron Carr is He's more of a wing, I would say, but one of the best athletes in the draft. I mean, he's got like a 43-inch vertical. Phylon and Christian Anderson's probably the best pick-and-roll playmaker in this draft, I would say. And boy, when he was with JT Toppin together before Toppin got hurt, that was a devastating combo.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're looking for here. More of a playmaker. I think Anderson is a guy that's going to make guys better around him. He's a pass-first, unselfish type of playmaker, but he's got elite quickness, so he can also get into his own shot. Cameron Carr is more of a guy that you look at. He's got a great shooting stroke, but more of that 3-and-D mentality, and a guy who can certainly finish on lobs. So I guess it just depends on what need you think you've got more.
Right, and Memphis right now is sort of trying to fully turn the page here, Bobby, into more of a rebuild around younger talent.
Yeah, this is the youth movement. Cedric Coward, Zach Edey's got to get healthy. Cameron Boozer now, what they're going to do at this pick here, certainly another young player to join this group.
And Cameron Boozer, I mean, he really could be a leader of this team, Jay, even coming in as a rookie.
Well, and to Bobby's point about learning how to win, he knows how to win. And I think he's going to step in there with a winner's mentality and a leadership role right away.
Yeah, so Memphis here is making this pick after flip-flopping with Oklahoma City at 17 and 16 here. So they're doing a little flip it and reverse it. And they're really taking their time and thinking over this pick, Bobby, it seems.
They have made a trade, Oklahoma City, since 2019 in every pick in the first round here. And I think if you're Memphis, you basically are picking the guy you probably had on the board at 16, and then you pick up a couple more second-round picks to go with it.
Well, we're getting closer to that pick being official, we're hearing, and that pick being in, but we haven't seen the commissioner just yet. Jay, as you're looking at the best available here, regardless of fit, who are you considering?
Well, the first up would be LeBaron Phylon of Alabama, a guy who averaged 22 points a game, really dynamic in screen roll situations, great in transition.
Great glasses.
Great glasses, yeah. So many guys have eye problems in this draft, but very stylish.
Either eye problems or they have a sense of chic, one of the two. However you want to put it. All right, the pick is in. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver back with us here to let us know who here is headed to the Memphis Grizzlies.
With the 17th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Ebuka Okori from Stanford University.
Wow. Ebuka Okori, the ACC scoring champion out of Stanford. We shared a flight here. He was lovely to chat with. This young man, he is a microwave scorer. Before deciding to go to Stanford, his final college choices were Harvard, Brown, and then of course the Cardinal. And originally he picked Harvard before deciding that he was going to go to Stanford. But Jay, his best game this season, probably February 7th, right, when he had 40 points against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, 9 freshmen at 40 in a game this year. I've never seen anything quite like that. But Ebuka Okori, he set a freshman record for scoring average in the ACC at 23 a game. And he had 8 30-point games, including that 40-point game you mentioned against Georgia Tech, where he had 7 threes. 7th in the nation in scoring, another young guard that's got tremendous speed and quickness. He can change pace. It's impossible to stay in front of him. And even at his size, he's only about 6'1" or so, he's able to get to the rim with that speed and get the ball up off the backboard before it could get blocked or changed by big guys coming over from the weak side. Excellent vision, can pass or finish with his right or left hand, but a guy that legs like creates for himself in a
Texas Tech University.
Kristen Anderson Jr., the Big 12 most improved player this season, and a big part of that, right, was his assists per game. They jumped from 2 to just over 7. Anderson recorded the most assists in a season in Texas Tech history, and he made the second most threes in a season in program history. And Bobby, he doesn't lack confidence because he's the best shooter in this draft, according to himself.
He's got some swagger in a good way here. He is part of the German national dual citizenship and played for Team Germany here, 42% from 3. And yes, when I met with him, he said, I am the best shooter in this draft. and now he goes to a Charlotte team that has LaMelo Ball and Con Knippel, certainly one of the best shooters in last year's class.
Yeah, you mentioned the dual citizenship. His dad, Christian Sr., was born in Germany, played college basketball, and then Anderson Jr. briefly lived in Germany during his father's playing career. But he also has really good defensive instincts here, Jay.
He does. And one of the things, I thought that Christian Anderson was the best pick-and-roll playmaker out of this college class last year. And your point, Malika, about his improvement, he took over the point and played with J.T. Toppin, who was a favorite for National Player of the Year. And those two were devastating in pick-and-roll situations playing together. But when Toppin injured his knee, Anderson had to take over fully. Then he can create his own shot. He shoots off the catch. He can shoot it off the dribble. He shoots pull-ups. One of the things that you really like about him, it's the pick-and-roll playmaking, but he's really durable. He was basically tireless throughout the season, played a ton of minutes, never took a play off. The second half in the Garden that he put together against Duke, where he had to take over for them to win, and he did, and they wound up winning that game against Cameron Boozer, Isaiah Evans, all those guys, was just stunning to watch. He can shoot it from deep, but that assist rate, 7.3 assists, in addition to scoring close to 19 points a game. He's an impressive player. You think Jalen Brunson has had an effect? I mean, we've had a lot of small guards go in this first half. Nobody cares. If you're good enough, you're big enough.
1A, 1B, 1C, 1 winner. But the 2025 FIBA World Cup German U19 team, we may see multiple guys from that team selected here tonight.
Well, and here's the thing. You've got 2 teammates on that team, and now you have 2 teammates in Charlotte with Steinbach and Anderson there. I think we might see Jack Hill maybe later in the first round or potentially in the second round.
I talked to Christian Anderson, and he said 2 decisions have helped him be ready for this moment. One, staying in college. He told me the game felt so much slower to him this season at Texas Tech compared to his freshman season. But you mentioned it, Bobby, him playing on the German national team. He got called up. He played on the U19 team, got called up to play with the German national team. He told me that experience, he learned so much from those guys on the court, but also off the court, and how to handle himself like a pro. He saw that last summer.
Right now, this pick is staying put, but there's been a lot of picks flying around. So as promised, our senior insider, Shams Charania here, is back to explain. Shams, what movement have we just seen?
Malika, so stay with me. So the Memphis Grizzlies started with the number 16 pick, and they moved number 16 back to number 17. They picked up 2 second-round picks in the process. So 16 ended up being Bennett Sturs. That went to Oklahoma City. Then when the Grizzlies were on the clock at 17, they moved that pick back for 21 and picked up 3 more second-round picks. So 5 slots back for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are now picking at 21. They get 5 second-round picks for that. So at 17, Ibuka Okori, he ends up with the Detroit Pistons. So the number 17 pick that we saw a couple picks ago here, that actually will be with the Pistons.
All right, I'm with you, Shams, and it's a good thing that I have been taking notes because you have been so on top of it, but picks are moving and flying around. Thank you very much here for that insight. Right now, it's still the Toronto Raptors, though, that are on the clock, Bobby, at this point.
Well, and they need shooting. I think when you look at their bench, I think they need some perimeter shooting to this group. You can even go guard with LeBaron Philon. What I love about Philon, he went back to school and they told him what he needed to get better at. He went from 32 to 40% from 3. They wanted him to see him be a better playmaker. He averaged over 5 assists a game here. And I think I would be surprised if the Raptors do not go guard here.
Well, and the pace that he played with at Alabama, Jay, you would think that would translate well to the NBA.
Oh, God, Alabama plays as fast as any team in any league at any level. But to Bobby's point, like LeBaron Philon a couple years ago, his reputation was as a lockdown defender. And then last year, he doubled his scoring average. He averaged 22 a game. Another guy that put up, he had multiple 25-point games and was really reliable. And in big games, he played his best. He's a really good player that in a lot of years, he'd be a lottery pick.
Right. And Legs, you went undrafted. You ended up having a very long, successful career in the NBA, but I imagine at this point, you're midway through the first round. The NBA invited a lot of young men here into the green room so that they can have their moment. But I would also imagine at this point, there's a little bit of nerves that also start to set in for those that are still left.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you want your name called, you're starting to now wonder, like, when is that going to happen? And it's a very tense moment for yourself, for your family. Certainly you would like to have gone higher. At this point, though, you just are desperately hoping to hear your name called. And I do agree with this pick. This has to be some perimeter shooting. Feinlein's a guy that can score, can get his own. Cameron Carr's another guy I'd look at here. Deep, deep shooter, highly athletic, can get out and run, and can make deep NBA three-point shots.
Well, we will see who the next member of the NBA fraternity is. The commissioner is back with the pick.
With the 19th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Alan Graves from Santa Clara University.
Santa Clara has had several notable NBA players here recently. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, Brandon Pajemski, of course, Steve Nash, and now Alan Graves, the West Coast Conference Sixth Man of the Year, coming off the bench, 31 of 35 games, the WCC Freshman of the Year. He earned first-team All-WCC honors as well, Jay, and is now headed to Toronto.
Yeah, another freshman, and Alan Graves kind of came out of nowhere playing for Herb Sendek at Santa Clara. You know, he's 6'7" or so, got a 7-foot wingspan. He's physical, powerful, high IQ, really good offensive rebounder, but he's got versatility. He can post, and he's a good screener. He goes screener to scorer very well, average about 12 points per game, almost 3 offensive rebounds per game, and he's a good open three-point shooter. But when he operates as a screener in a pick and roll, he can roll hard or pop. He plays angles really well. And he's got great hands on the defensive end. He gets a lot of deflections and a lot of steals. There's a lot to like about Alan Graves.
That's the thing for me. He's got great anticipation on defense. He can be ahead of the play, and he can dictate. He can be aggressive. He has a high motor. But even if he finds himself a step behind, he's got quick hands and a quick reaction time. I know you all talked about perimeter shooting. He is a pick and pop threat, not a guard, but he has the ability to pick and pop and knock down threes. He's also a great connective piece offensively. The ball doesn't stick with Alan Graves. He keeps it moving.
As we head to the tape here, Legs, what player do you see Toronto getting?
I think this is a guy right here that is so smart, tough, and he's going to a situation that is very helpful for him as a player, because remember, this is a team that went 7 games with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're close. They're right there, and now he comes in a situation, not a lot of pressure on him. I think he can be a rotational player for them right away. His shooting, ultimately, I think, is going to determine how long he stays on the court. He takes a little bit long to get it off, but there's no doubt he's accurate from out there, and it addresses a major need. They're low volume, low percentage three-point shooting team.
Yeah, solid shooting numbers, 51% from the field, 41% on threes, and you can see Santa Clara. This is my conference, the WCC, starting to put together a real collection here.
What about Kurt Rambis? He's not a first-round pick.
And
Kurt Rambis went to Santa Clara.
Outraged.
We can't fit it all on the screen.
We'll get it on the next graphic for you, Jay, I promise.
Alan Graves is also in great company, one of 2 Division I freshmen, 400 points, 200 rebounds, and 50 steals. That other freshman was Cameron Boozer. The versatility, the two-way playability, that's what they're getting in Alan Graves.
Some pretty good company there. The San Antonio Spurs are now on the clock, and we just saw them in some ways, Bobby, be slightly ahead of schedule there, although the rule is never put a ceiling on Victor Wembanyama.
No, I agree. I think there's no team better positioned right now when you look at all 5 starters returning on this roster. Their core 4 off the bench here. They've got the 20th pick. They also got 4 seconds. I think it's going to be interesting where do they go size? I think we saw in that Knicks series, you could have used a lot more size. Do they take a flyer on Jaden Quintus, who is potentially a lottery pick if healthy there, or do you maybe get a little more shooting off your bench?
Well, and they need maybe size, and also it feels like they just need a little bit of experience, and that comes separately from the NBA draft. You can do 2 things at once. Legs, you were on the call for the NBA Finals. You did a fantastic job, but you had a front row seat to the gap here for the San Antonio Spurs in a really crowded West.
You know, we sit here on a night like this, and we always talk about what teams need. You know, some of those needs are addressed internally with with player growth. And I think that's a big part of San Antonio's next step. You saw how well they played, how they controlled so many of those games in the NBA Finals, but they didn't really know how to close the deal against a veteran team with a clear identity. So just 1 year of that is going to make them better. Now they've all got to look in the mirror and say, how can I be better individually on both ends of the floor so we don't go through that situation again where we can't close games. I do think one thing they need, a little bit of size at the 4 spot. Keldon Johnson struggled as you got deeper into the playoffs, playing an undersized 4. I think a little bit of size next to Wemby would help him as well, as much time as he spends on the perimeter.
With the new draft lottery that's going to be put into effect next year, this Spurs team couldn't be built in the way that we saw it built here. You know, they've had so many first-round picks that have hit that have been important, and now they're looking to add to that collection. But I agree, Legs. Watching the finals, it did feel like the lasting image to me is Victor Wembanyama, you know, throwing in the final seconds. They had the game in their hands where they lead by 29 points, but throwing the ball off Castle's back. You know, it's those sorts of moments that I think it's just a little bit of time in season.
It's a progression. It's growth in this league. We know it. You got to go through some of those situations. Maybe it ultimately could be the best thing that ever happened to that group. Not to win a title immediately, out of the playoffs to title in one season with your 3 best players, 22 and under. They just got to ripen, and I think they're going to learn a lot about themselves over the course of the summer and add another piece right here.
We just saw Kareem Lopez. We're showing guys that are still in the room, but Lopez is one of the tremendous stories here, Jay, of this draft.
Yeah, Fran Fraschilla has spoken about his ruggedness and how talented he is, but to your point, Legs and Bobby, you know, if size is an issue in this pick, another guy is Chris Sinek Jr., Houston. An outstanding defensive rebounder whose offense is coming, especially in the second half of the season, playing for Kelvin Sampson. He'd be an interesting selection there, too.
Jaden Quaintance, Terrace Reed Jr. I mean, there's a good selection, a good group of bigs. If that's where the Spurs are going, they've got great options. They all do things a little differently, but the impact can be immediate.
And what they've proven, Bobby, is they're not afraid to trust really young players in really big moments.
I mean, how about the lineup? You know, certainly Dylan Harper, the ability to close some of these games. Stephon Castle. I think we're going to see a big lift from Carter Bryant, who had some moments during the final. So age, as we say, is just a number.
It's usually we say that as people are getting older, but no, we're saying that with youth as well. Youth is not always wasted on the young, Jay.
Yeah, it is.
Says the elder statesman of our draft here. So the Spurs, they are deliberating, they are deciding. When you look at the landscape of the West, though, Legs, I think there is a sentiment around the league of if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk, but also if the Oklahoma City Thunder had been healthy, maybe that Game 7 could have looked different. And the Spurs, they carry that ship.
Well, they definitely do. Look, this is a 62-win team that had to go on the road against the defending champions in a Game 7 in that environment and play as well as they did. And I think a lot of people thought, hey, foregone conclusion, whoever wins that game wins an NBA title. The Knicks had a lot to say about that because they had found perfect chemistry at the right time. San Antonio Spurs, this is going to be a difficult rotation to crack. Now, look, Dylan Harper went into this situation a year ago. Expectations weren't there. He found a way to crack it. This is going to be tougher for this pick.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron in the San Antonio Spurs locker room, and their expectations, led by Victor Wembanyama's expectations of himself. Oh, my goodness. Wait, Caleb Wilson looks the exact same as a baby with that huge smile than he does here on draft day. All right, you see the Detroit Pistons here, but really remember this pick is on its way to Memphis, as our Sham Charania reported a little bit earlier. We got picks flying around. 16th overall pick, Bennett Sturts headed to the Thunder. The Grizzlies, they get the 21st pick in this draft. That's where we're at right now, and 5 future second-round picks. And then the Pistons, they got that 17th overall pick that was Ibuka Okori. So that is where we are. Memphis actually on the clock, even though it says the Pistons. Bobby, you're with me, right?
I am. Okay. I think so. I'm putting myself in this Memphis in their war room right now. They're looking at their board and they're saying there's 6 guys when they're at 16. There's 6 guys that we really like. Okay. And what's the cost of business if we can move back to 17 and if we can move back to 21 and they pick up 5 seconds to go along, and they're going to get a player that they like right now.
And so those conversations, they come together quickly, and we bring you the flying around picks. Again, this one on its way to Memphis. The pick is in. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver making his way here to the podium.
With the 21st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Kareem Lopez from Hermosillo, Mexico, and the New Zealand Breakers of the NBL.
19-year-old forward Kareem Lopez. This is a historic moment because Lopez is the first Mexican-born player to be drafted in the first round. He's from Hermosillo, and Lopez, he told Sports Illustrated that he wants to show people that come from the same situation that I come from, that it's possible. And really, he's done just that. And this is a family dream. His father played professionally in Mexico and for the Mexican national team. When Kareem was little, he would go to his dad's practices and dribble a ball around, and he's preparing for this. He's been preparing as a pro since he was 14 years old when he left home, moved to Spain to play professionally before his most recent stop with the New Zealand Breakers, which is part of the Australian Professional League. Our international expert, Fran Fraschilla, has more. Fran, there's so much to like about this young man's game.
I got to tell you, Zach Kleiman, the GM, the last 3 years has hit it. Coward, Edie, now this kid, he's a lottery pick. They just got a steal. This kid, before he had a driver's license, had 13.7 rebounds and 3 assists against the Utah Jazz. When he was 17, he just played 2 years in a tough, grown-up league, and he will play his entire rookie season at 19 years old. He's athletic, he's tough, he's played, he's got a lot of experience. He does have to work on the jump shot, but there's nothing wrong with it. At 21, are you kidding me? He's not 2 years away. He has a chance to help these guys pretty early in his career because of all that experience. My friends down south of the border, my Mexican basketball friends, are slapping high five right now. They're probably having a little tequila too.
You know what? There ain't nothing wrong with that, particularly as we head towards the end of the first round. And I love that he was wearing the Mexican flag on the inside of his jacket. Fran, you promised earlier that we would see that representation here inside Barclays Center. There it is, the Mexican flags being waved. There's certainly a lot of excitement for Kareem Lopez headed here to the Memphis Grizzlies. And now it's the Philadelphia 76ers that are on the clock. And Bobby, Philadelphia has been knocking on the door, looking towards a healthy Joel Embiid, exciting young guard in Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. They weren't quite healthy enough to get it done against the New York.
Well, they weren't, and I think what they showed in that New York series is depth matters here. And I think when you look at Philadelphia, there's a lot of different ways you can go at pick 22. You can go with a wing because you've got Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes as free agents, or you can get a backup guard to Tyrese Maxey and certainly VJ Edgecombe. Maxey and Edgecombe's minutes were high. So I'm going to go back on the LeBaron Filan train, and I'm going to say he's right now I have him 13th, the 13th best player coming into the draft. If he's there, I think Philadelphia should certainly consider him.
Legs, what's the gap for Philadelphia here in an Eastern Conference where already, I mean, if you listen to odds makers, they say the New York Knicks are somewhere around 4th. And so there is some sentiment that the Eastern Conference, this might be sacrilegious to say sitting in New York City, but there is some room for movement at the top.
Talent-wise, there's not much of a gap with those top teams. The problem is every sentence when you talk about the Sixers starts with if, and then the next thing is guys being healthy, right? That's what it's all dependent upon. I think I look at their team, there's a lot of talent there, and I think right now you take the best available talent, the guy that you think that you could put on an NBA court immediately. You don't need a guy that's a project that you're thinking 3-4 years down the road. With the veterans they have, if they are healthy, they're going to be in the mix in the East. You want a guy that can play tomorrow night. I think Filan would be a good pick for that reason.
You say best available, I think Jay Billis. Who is the best available, Jay?
He's next up on the list. I had him as the number 13 player in the draft. In other drafts, he'd be higher, top 10. With his scoring ability at 22 points a game, speed, you name it, his ability to work in pick and rolls. You know, but Cameron Carr's available from Baylor as a spectacular athlete on the wing. He's 6'4", but long arm. there are a number of ways they could go, but Philon's the best prospect on the board.
We've already talked about LeBaron Philon and how much he improved from his freshman to sophomore season. 32% from three as a freshman to 40% from three as a sophomore, which opened up even more space for LeBaron Philon to get into the paint, where he also finished better as a sophomore. Finished 67% of his shots at the rim. I second the LeBaron, second, third, fourth, the LeBaron Philon comment.
I think this becomes a consensus at this point when you're talking about.
Hopefully, it'll make us look bad
Right,
here.
LeBaron.
Hey, remember, Philly took a player in the 20s, and it turned out pretty good in Tyrese Maxey.
But we've also said with the depth of talent in this draft, there are still, we talked about Cameron Carr, they showed Chris Sinak Jr., there are still so many different ways that teams, even at this point in the draft, can go and still get a player that can affect their team immediately in a positive way.
And that's why we've been talking about the depth of this draft. This draft class, Jay, it literally changed the rules for the NBA because there is so much talent up and down even here in the 20s.
Yeah, I don't remember a class quite like this. I mean, and you talked about the record number of freshmen that were taken in a row. It's an extraordinary freshman class that put up just big-time numbers and backed up everything everybody said about it. But, you've got players that are further down in this draft that would be, players taken now that would be lottery picks in other years. And that's an extraordinary thing.
Yeah, it really speaks to the talent that exists up and down this draft. We're seeing a lot of smiles here from the Philon table. I'm not sure if that's an inclination or a sort of a hint as to where the Philadelphia 76ers could be looking or not here, Andrea. But as you look at the rest of the green room, and there's still players that are sitting here, and this is always sort of the moment where people can start to get a little bit nervous. There really is a lot of talent and a lot of guys that could have a long NBA career. We're going to hold that thought, though. The commissioner's ready with the 76ers pick. Let's find out if the consensus was correct. Here's the commissioner.
With the 22nd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select LeBaron Philon Jr. from the University of Alabama.
This is some of the most emotion we've seen tonight. And LeBaron Philon, he's from Mobile, Alabama, the area. He stayed close to home for college. He went through the draft process last season, and ultimately he decided to go back to school. And by all accounts, Bobby, this young man, he put in the work. He took all the feedback. He improved his outside shooting. He had that notable 35-point performance in the Sweet 16. And that fast pace that he played with at Alabama, Jay noted how fast it was, Dre, that's going to translate well to the NBA as he makes his walk to the stage.
Yeah, I mean, he played such a high-octane offense at Alabama. There was a ton of spacing. They were electric in transition. He's a quick decision maker. And we talk about his shot improving. He's never had to improve his handles. He has had that from the very beginning. The ball is on a string with LeBaron Philon. And now that he has the more threat of shooting, he can get into the paint. And with going to Philly, think of all the options he has to find around him. He also improved his assists per game this year.
Yeah, in his freshman year, Andrea, he was known as a lockdown defender.
We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go. Go. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go. Well, just like that, look who's back in the mix. Straight out of New York City, it's the Red Hot Knicks. And nothing's gonna stop us from hanging Nevada, not the Hawks, Heat, or even Indiana. It's the Knicks, back on pace, back in the chase. That's right.
Knicks fans, you already know, 53 years in the making, make some noise!
So should I break it to them, Bobby?
You can let Shams break it.
Shams Charania is reporting after all that celebration that this pick is heading to the Los Angeles Lakers for the number 25 pick. But please, please do not let us stop your celebration here. Just know that the number 24, number 25 picks are actually swapping. I don't want to tell the
Talk about a party pooper.
All right, so really here it is the Lakers that are on the clock, but New York will be making the next pick right after that. And since there is this festive atmosphere in the air, Bobby, let's just stick with New York, because why not? Again, even though this is on the move. Legs, you just got off of calling the NBA Finals. This feels like a pretty complete team that's returning their guys.
Yeah, it's complete, but there's still some depth issues. They're still trying to figure out what's going to happen with Mitchell Robinson, so there could be a need there for a backup center. They probably would like to have a little bit more size at the guard coming off the bench. Instead of going with Miles McBride and Jose Alvarado, like there's just a little bit more size as a ball handler. But look, this team found perfect chemistry at the right time. There's not a whole lot to add when you've just won an NBA championship.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, depth, right? When I saw Jose Alvarado walking around here, and he's got hey, listen, he could be a free agent. He's got a player option in this deal here. And I think when you look at Landry Shamet and Mitchell Robinson, I think when we're looking at New York going back from 24 to 25, I know it's just the Lakers pick right now, but Cameron Carr could certainly be a replacement as far as when you're looking at shooting.
I'm not so... I don't want to rush to turn the page for the New York Knicks from the championship, Legs, because it was so special to see a team. We heard Adam Silver say it in our pre-draft show. For a team to win their first championship in 53 years, for it to be the New York Knicks, it's just incredible.
It's electric. It's electric for the league. That environment, that team, that franchise, a starved fan base. You got it done.
The chief of that starved fan base, Spike Lee, on our ABC set, and someone gave him the Larry O'Brien trophy to keep track of.
Does he get to take it home?
That's his trophy.
I'm sure he's, you know what, if Richard Jefferson can order a replica of his 2016 trophy, I feel that Spike Lee gets to order a replica here as well, Jay. Why not?
They may not get that one back.
He was praying with Stephen A. last year, and those prayers came true. Jay, when you're looking at, again, this pick is headed to the Los Angeles Lakers, but you're best available at this point. Who are the guys that you have your eye on?
Well, Cameron Carr, who Bobby just mentioned from Baylor, who is a spectacular athlete, started his career at Tennessee and then went to Baylor and averaged about 19, 20 points a game last year. A player I really like, Chris Neck Jr. from Houston, 6'11", an outstanding rebounder, impactful defender whose offense really started to blossom midway through the season at Houston. And then Malik Thomas at Arkansas, who can really shoot it. I mean, we talked a lot about Darius Acup Jr., but that guy can shoot it just as well, and he can make a lot of difficult shots and terrific range. So I would say those guys, and Koa Pete from Arizona, who's not necessarily a shooter, but a big, burly, strong rebounder and kind of middle game paint scorer.
Well, the pick is in. I know we see the confetti, but again, this is headed to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Knicks will be picking after this. So for the Los Angeles Lakers selection, here's NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the 24th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Cameron Carr from Baylor University.
The all Big 12 team selection. He played his first 2 years of college at Tennessee before really coming into his own at Baylor. And he had a breakout season after transferring, averaging just under 19 points a game at Baylor. His measurables at the Combine, they really skyrocketed his draft stock, Andrea. How has he developed?
Oh, incredibly. I mean, you talk about the Combine, 38-inch standing vertical, that was second best. 42.5 max vertical, that was the best among guards. He also put up 30 points in the Combine scrimmage, and I talk about the scoring, but my favorite play, he gets a block on one end and then goes down and gets a transition layup dunk, alley-oop on the other end. To me, he's an explosive athlete. He's got speed, bounce, body control. He runs the floor hard in transition, and he also has deep range, which opens up the floor for everything else and the rest of his teammates.
He's got a really good-looking stroke from deep. He can go out to 23 to 25 feet, so he's not just an athlete. He's a lob threat. He's a guy to get out in transition. I love the way he shoots the basketball as a guy you can just plug in X amount of minutes, space the floor, play off of your playmakers, and be a lob threat or a three-point shooter. It's a rare combination. I'm surprised that he is still on the board this late in the first round.
It takes one to know one, Legs, when you talk about great three-point shooters. But he wasn't always a lock, Jay, to be a first-round pick.
No, I mean, he didn't play much at Tennessee, then transferred to Baylor. But you guys mentioned it very well. Like, he can shoot the ball. He can spot up. but he's also a driver slasher. Gets to the rim, and Malika, you mentioned his combine performance. He put up that 30-point game in his first game, and then not shockingly didn't play again after that. But his ability to impact the game defensively as well. He can be a pest on the defensive end, but that quick burst and straight line driving ability, and then the defensive tools. He's got a wingspan. He's about 6'5", I'd say, but his wingspan is about 7 feet.
Yeah. Pops has a good claim to fame as well. His dad played 6 seasons in the NBA. One of them was with the Nets, Bobby.
Traded for him.
In 1999,
That's
you made
right.
that trade. And then, trivia time, who did he come in second to the 1997 dunk contest? It would be Kobe Bean Bryant. So clearly, this runs in the family here. So now it is the Los Angeles Lakers that it says is on the clock, but really we're flip-flopping here. Our senior insider, Shams Charania, has been all over this. Shams, take me behind the thinking of the Lakers and the Knicks here.
Malika, so the Knicks started the night very much open to moving the pick entirely at number 24, either back in the draft to the second round or even potentially moving completely out of the draft for a future first-round pick. But they ultimately moved 24 to the Lakers for 25. So a straight 24-25 swap. 24 ends up being Cameron Carr. The Lakers sent cash considerations, I'm told, to the Knicks for 25. My phone is still going because the Knicks are still seeing if they can move 25 either back in this draft or potentially out.
Wait, this is a very in the matrix here. I'm watching Shams in the Lakers draft headquarters. I guess we'll say hi, JJ. You used to sit up here with us. Hi, Rob Pelinka. All right, so Shams is letting the Los Angeles Lakers know what they're thinking in real time in the draft headquarters there, Bobby. But this pick could be on the move again.
Well, I think, yeah, listen, I think if the Lakers keeping this pick here, it addresses some shooting that they need. Luke Kennard is a free agent. I think there's 3 needs for the Lakers, a big, a wing, and some shooting here. And I think if Carr is the guy at the Knicks pick that's going to the Lakers here, it does fill a need.
Okay, so the Knicks pick that is headed to the Los Angeles Lakers. We're all looking back at the big board here to see these picks continue to fly around. So right now, that pick is still being deliberated. The best thing I think at this point, Jay, is to look at the best available because this could be someone that we see moving again.
Yeah, so next up on the best available list would be Chris Sinek Jr., Houston, 6'11". Then we mentioned Malik Thomas, the shooter from Arkansas. Koa Pete of Arizona, who had a 30-point game to start the season against Florida and really announced his arrival into college basketball. And then another big guy, Henry Vessar of North Carolina, who really improved. He started his career at Arizona, played a couple years there. Didn't have a double-figure rebound game at Arizona his first couple years, and then averaged 9 rebounds a game at North Carolina and emerged as a really good stretch 5. I mean, he made over 43s this last year, shot 43% from 3. So I would be very surprised if he'd not taken before the end of the first round.
Okay, so right now, because the Los Angeles Lakers logo is up there, Bobby, the Lakers, they have a big summer. For years, as our Dave McMenamin reported, Luka Doncic has been promised the summer of 2026. Just wait until this summer. This is where we make our big moves. What decisions do they have to make?
Well, they've got to find an athletic 5 for Luka. I think that's certainly the priority. And Dave wrote in the article an A-list center here. So it's either going to be probably in a trade here because those A-list centers are restricted free agents with Walker Kessler and Jalen Darryn. Of course, LeBron, that's going to be the big decision as far as if he returns and what his number is. And then finally, Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is an unrestricted, he's likely going to opt out of his contract. He's an unrestricted free agent. There will be a market for Austin Reeves out there. I know it's limited right now, but as we saw last year, there's always ways for teams to create cap space, and he is one of the best free agents.
How much space they have is somewhat dependent on how much, if LeBron does return, he takes here, Legs. You and I called Lakers games together with me on the sidelines, you on the call this past year, and the Lakers, they're a good team, but in an excellent Western Conference, it does feel like there really is a gap even with all their talent.
Yeah, it wasn't enough, and they didn't have enough time with the 3 of those guys at the top of their roster together. They missed chunks of time throughout the year. Very difficult to find their rhythm. I don't think this team was deep enough. They certainly didn't have enough shooting. That's why I was looking at a guy like Cameron Carr, and I'm saying, the shooting is there, but also I go back to Luka in the Dallas days with Derrick Jones Jr., like going to the finals, like that slashing wing. He loves to throw those lobs to guys diving off the corner, but he can also shoot the ball, I think, at a higher clip than Derrick Jones Jr. So it almost seemed like that would be a good fit playing alongside Luka. They just need more guys they can trust coming off their bench.
Not to mention, right now, DeAndre Ayton does have a player option, right? And we expect him to opt into that player option. And the question would be, does he remain on the roster, or is that a player that they look to trade?
Well, that's right. DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart, two players that have player options here. And I think Ayton is serviceable, but I think probably more in a backup role here. And I think, as we said, there is a priority to get a big.
Okay, so we have been talking about the Lakers. The pretty purple is behind us, but this pick right now is on its way to the New York Knicks. Here's the commissioner.
First, we have trades to announce. As part of deals to be finalized later, the Oklahoma City Thunder are acquiring the draft rights to Bennett Sturts, the 16th pick. The Detroit Pistons are acquiring the draft rights to Ebuka Okori, the 17th pick. And the Memphis Grizzlies are acquiring the draft rights to Kareem Lopez, the 21st pick. And with the 25th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Sergio De La Rey from Valladolid, Spain, and the Valencia Basketball Club.
Sergio De La Rey, the guard out of Spain, who was the youngest player to win MVP of the Spanish Super Cup. And let's bring Fran back in here. Fran, we will see when he debuts in the NBA, but this is a guard with positional size. What is this group getting?
Well, Legs wanted a shooter. They got a shooter. What you know about international players at the end of the first round is they are great role players. This young man's played 70 games already this year. By the way, Valencia is up 2-1 over Barcelona in the ACB Finals. A lot of experience. Some people think he's a point guard. No way. He's a shooting guard at 6'7", and he can handle the ball some in pick and roll. But I absolutely think this is a solid pick for the Lakers. Luka's going to love him because they can speak Spanish on the court. But given where he is experience-wise, 20 years old, perfect.
Muy bien. I like it. Fran, thank you very much. All right, next on the clock, that are on the clock here. And Denver, again, one of these teams in this crowded West where you think when you have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and that threat, you have a chance here, Legs. But once again, they proved that there was just a bit of a gap, particularly with the health issues to Aaron Gordon last year.
That was a big problem for them. It always is with Aaron Gordon. He's so valuable to their team. But I look at their team right now, critical, first of all, you've got to re-sign Peyton Watson. I mean, that's the top of the priority list for the summer for Denver. He broke out last year as a guy that has a much higher ceiling as a scorer than I think we thought, and he can defend, but they need another ball handler, and now they're going to need a backup big, most likely to eat up some of those minutes, take some of the pressure off of the Joker during the regular season so he doesn't have such a heavy burden.
And that's a sentence, take some of the pressure off of Nikola Jokic, that we have said before here. By the way, the cuteness not lacking here in the NBA draft. The matching bow ties, gentlemen, oh my goodness. Okay, maybe not
the hat. He didn't get picked where he wanted, I guess.
My dude says we might need to be trading in this hat here. Absolutely adorable in the pinstripes. But for Nikola Jokic, this is something that we've talked about a lot. The pick here is in. Let's send it back to the podium. There's a little bit of a false start here. The Denver Nuggets are taking their time, so we can talk a little bit more about this. About Valanciunas and the plans here for their backup center.
Yeah, I mean, Jonas Valanciunas has got a $10 million contract. $2 million of it is guaranteed. There's a trigger date in early July. I would expect, and this is a Denver team that's faced with a major financial crunch, I would expect them to waive Valanciunas and then stretch that money over. They basically would save about $9 million here. And Jokic is a priority. He's extension eligible, and Peyton Watson also. And
Nikola Jokic, when he was asked about it, he has said in so many words, Denver's where he wants to be, and then it all trickles down from there. All right, now, for real, the pick is in. Let's go back to the podium.
With the 26th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Denver Nuggets select Terrace Reed Jr. from the University of Connecticut.
Terrace Reed Jr., A first-team All-Big East selection, rebounding really his calling card, and who could forget his NCAA tournament game in the first round? 31 points, 27 rebounds. I haven't seen a performance like that in the tournament, but a 4-year-old Jay Billis saw Elvin Hayes do that.
That's right, I did. But Terrace Reed Jr. started his career at Michigan, but his career really blossomed when he transferred to UConn. He's 6'10", he's got a 7'4" wingspan, and he's really strong and athletic. He scores mostly on the block, where he shot 60% from the field on post-ups. He's good in pick-and-roll situations and really physical at the rim. You know, he screens in that UConn offense and then rolls to the basket and really crashes the offensive glass. And Malik, at your point on the NCAA tournament, he averaged 19 points a game on UConn's run to the title game where they lost to Michigan, but also 13.5 rebounds. And he averaged 12 points in the paint per game. He can be a beast inside.
And this pick is on the move. Shams Charania just reported that Denver is trading this pick to San Antonio for the 35 pick this year, so tomorrow night's draft, and then 2 future second-round picks again. So the Spurs will take Terrace Reed here.
Yeah, and they're getting a good one. You said it, Jada. Not much of a jump shooter. He attempted 10 jump shots on the season. He attempted 245, either layups or dunks. He does his damage in the paint. He is big. He's physical. He's a bruiser. He can bury guys underneath the rim, and with that strength, he builds a wall defensively. Another really impressive thing about Terrace Reed, when you talk about making the jump to the NBA, he made a jump going to UConn at the time. He was going to a UConn team that had a pro-style offense. They ran a ton of things. He adjusted and was much better in that offense in his second season than he was in his first season. So his adaptability will be good at the NBA.
And now it's the Boston Celtics here that are on the clock again. And I think, Bobby, that the biggest question as we turn the page here is, after so much conversation about really a big decision, right? As much as we can all talk about the Jays and fit, it's a huge decision to move on from a finals MVP like Jaylen Brown, and yet that has been the discussion here over the last several days.
And arguably probably a top 5 player this year who had a breakout year and basically carried this roster here with Jason Tatum injured. And it's going to be, listen, I think there's 2 ways this is going to go. Either they're going to trade Jaylen Brown, or there's going to be some, I guess, repairing of a relationship when you see a player's name. A player. This is different than 4 years ago. This is not 4 years ago when his name was rumored in the Kevin Durant talks. This is a player, a legit top 10 player on the Boston Celtics.
I was wondering, Jay, who's your top therapist on the board? I think that's maybe what we're looking for in Boston right now with the fallout of the way all of this played out. We're all curious to see what this is going to do to Boston and the effect that it's going to have.
It's certainly going to have an effect, isn't it? I mean, you know, when you do what Jaylen Brown did this year and you're all NBA and then you're dangled around in trades, that's an interesting position to be in. But we talked earlier about Boston needing some inside help, interior help. And that seems like Kristaps Jr. to me, if that's what if they're going to take this pick and keep it.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, we haven't gotten the Shams notification that this pick is on the move, but Boston, it seems like what they're saying is they felt like they were close. All year long, we were talking about, well, when Jason Tatum comes back, I think there was an expectation that they were going to certainly at least get out of the first round here, Bobby, and so there's a gap.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're up 3-1 in that Philadelphia series, and guess what happened? You saw Joel Embiid. And Brad Stevens basically went after they got eliminated. He said, hey, we need help in the paint. Yeah. We need easier points in the paint.
And Chris, when you talk about Boston, a three-point shooting team, you know that, Legs, you've seen that. Kristaps Jr. working on his three-point shot. He definitely showed that some at Houston. Henry Vesar, also a stretch big. So they've got a couple of options in terms of needing a big and needing size and also contributing to that three-point shooting style.
Surprised if it's not one of those two. You know, when you go back to that series with Philly where they were exposed, Cada did a decent job.
Yeah.
He just couldn't stay out of foul trouble. And that's something they're going to have to address going forward. You've got to be able to stay on the floor, and if you have a little bit more offensive upside, which both of these bigs do that are still left, that's a double bonus for Boston. I'd be surprised if it's not one of the two.
And certainly there are nerves at this point. There's excitement. There were 24 players that were invited to the green room this year. That's more than we typically see. And so you can see the anticipation, the emotion still with these players as they wait to hear if their name is going to be one of the final 4 here that we hear selected in the first round. The Boston Celtics have made their pick. We've discussed their needs. Let's see how they choose to fill them as we head back to the podium.
With the 27th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Chris Sunak Jr. from the University of Houston.
Chris's coach at Houston, Kelvin Sampson, had high praise for the freshman big. He said, quote, he's never had one bad ounce of body language. He's always one of the first ones in the gym and one of the last ones to leave. And wherever he's playing in the NBA, that team is going to be lucky to get him. Well, it's the Boston Celtics that are the lucky beneficiaries here. He studied players like Anthony Davis. He could be a 4 or a 5, although Houston seemed to use him as a little bit more of a rebounder than a shot blocker. Jay, how do you see that shaking out in the positionless NBA?
No, I think he's got the potential to work out as a stretch 5 in the NBA. You know, he's almost 6'11", and he's got really long arms. 7'5" wingspan, impacts the game on the glass, a really good defensive rebound. He grabs offensive rebounds too, but he can change and block shots around the rim. He's a very good rim finisher, shot about 74% at the rim, but he's a great combination of size, length, and athleticism. And he's mobile with his rebounding. He just doesn't get the rebounds in his area. He can rebound out of his area, but he's got a high release on his shot. He's got a good mid-range touch that I think can stretch out the three-point range in time. In the last 6 games of the season, playing with Kingston Flemings, Emmanuel Sharp, Milo Suzanne, you know, he scored 10 points a game and had 10 rebounds a game and shot 42% from 3 in their last 6. And I think he's a very good defender as well. Kelvin Sampson likes to say, you know, when he got to Houston, he didn't have a game he could go to, but he developed a game. And I like the stroke that he has, especially like he's got a high release on that mid-range jumper, so he can hit a little turnaround jumper, but stretching it out to the three-point line, which he did toward the end of the season, I think really bodes well for his future. I think he's a lottery talent.
Malika, what you said about Kelvin Sampson saying Chris Sunak Jr. has never had bad body language, it means 10 times more coming from Kelvin Sampson.
Right.
Because Kelvin Sampson was hard on Chris Sunak Jr. We sat in on some shoot-arounds, Jay, and saw how hard Kelvin Sampson was on Chris Sunak Jr. Never changed. His demeanor, the joy, the smile. I mean, he's got two-way playmaking ability, but the toughness mentally, to me, for Chris Sunak Jr. to handle that kind of coaching, we saw it.
Kelvin was hard on us.
And our body language didn't change.
Well, and the other thing, too, is I think people sometimes get caught off on his lack of blocked shots. And when I talked with Chris, I said to him, why do you average so few blocked shots? He goes, because Coach Sampson told me, go grab the rebound,
Yeah.
and that's why his numbers were so high.
Well, he averaged a double-double in Houston's postseason tournaments. As we look ahead here, the Minnesota Timberwolves say that they're on the clock, but this is where the Julius Randle trade that we saw in the wee hours before the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade comes to fruition here, Bobby. Explain.
Yes, they have traded Julius Randle to the Brooklyn Nets. Nick Claxton goes from Brooklyn to Chicago, and Minnesota gets the 33rd pick. Brooklyn gets the 28th pick. Now, from Minnesota's perspective, they've reached an agreement on a contract with Ayo Dosunmu for 5 years, $112 million. The Randle contract comes off. Now let's see what they do with that flexibility here to go out and add some pieces in free agency.
Well, and the sentiment for fans around the league, particularly of Minnesota, who went to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, is, okay, what is this the precursor to? And it still feels like that is the unsolved question here.
I think this is a team right now, they're a little bit of transition because you remember this is a conference finalist back-to-back years. Does it feel right now like they're still trending in that direction? I think there's a lot of questions. And look, they've got to re-sign Dosunmu. That's critical. They may go an entire season without Dante DiVincenzo. That's important. They need to have further growth in Terrence Shannon Jr. Injury last year kind of derailed where I thought he would be in replacing Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So they've got some internal things already that they've got to deal with, that where most of their growth might come from, not from this pick here tonight.
Right, and the questions for Minnesota really is just that. How do you continue to build around Anthony Edwards, a true contender that can crack through a Western Conference that I think we see the San Antonio Spurs and certainly the Oklahoma City Thunder as ahead of Minnesota? Are we expecting another domino to fall here? Because fans are looking around saying, wait a second, we traded Karl Anthony Towns and ultimately now we're just getting second-round picks?
Well, and they dipped their toe in the Giannis sweepstakes here, and the price was just too rich. I mean, when you're looking at Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid, you're basically gutting your roster to do that. I think the jury's out. I think the jury's right out. They created this big $33 million trade exception. They can acquire players. You better do something with it. Yeah, that's all. This better not be just a salary dump of a guy who averaged 20 points for you.
Right, because this is not a certainty, right, that they are going to do something. This is something the Minnesota Timberwolves, it still feels like they're in a little bit of transition. I'm looking over at Shams here because he seems like
2 years ago they were at $210 million. Now they're at $170 million. They have significantly decreased their salary over the last couple of years.
Okay, so this is something the Minnesota Timberwolves, it still feels like they're in a little bit of transition. I'm looking over at Shams here because he seems like he's working away, and this feels like potentially a question for him, Bobby, but what's the most likely outcome?
Well, the most likely outcome is Sumo's coming back. I think that they have got the non-tax mid-level exception here to go out and add a player here and still stay under the luxury tax. They need a backup big now because Naz is going to go to the starting four,
right? And
now you're going to need a replacement here. So basically, by Randall coming off, everybody gets moved up a slot.
So let's keep the big in mind here. And again, as Legs said, Jay, this isn't necessarily that they're looking towards this pick to fill that slot to push them into the contention category, but who could they be looking at here?
Well, the best, sort of center on the board is Henry Vessar of North Carolina.
Yeah.
He'd be the next one up. But there's not a lot of choices right now for this pick. But Vessar would be the one. If that's the way you want to go, that's the way I think it would happen.
Who are you looking at, Drea?
Yeah, a couple of others. If we're talking bigs, you mentioned Vessar. I'm looking at Koa Pete. I'm looking at Joshua Jefferson, very versatile, out of Iowa State. So those are two others that I would probably have my eye on.
So this pick on the way to Brooklyn as a part of this deal. So again, it's not this pick that is going to be helping them out there. So with Brooklyn, really, they're looking at best available as usual. Here's Jay's best. Let's see what Brooklyn says as we go back to the commissioner at the podium.
With the 28th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Joshua Jefferson from Iowa State University.
This is always one of my favorite parts of the NBA Draft. When a young man who decides, you know what, I wasn't invited to the green room, but I still want to come, sit in the stands, take a chance, and wait to get my moment. When they have that, and Joshua Jefferson, the senior forward out of Iowa State, he took that chance, Andrea, and now he gets his moment in person with the commissioner.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. A smart move by Joshua Jefferson, which is very fitting because he made a ton of smart moves on the basketball court. He has a high IQ, he's skilled, he can make plays, he does a little bit of everything well to impact and change the game. Physical on his post-ups, he plays through contact, and he can handle the ball and pass it. There are so many great things about Joshua Jefferson that he's bringing to the next level.
Yeah, he's an excellent passer as a front court player. He had a 23% assist rate. He rebounds the ball. He's not an elevating big guy. He plays on the floor. Started his career at St. Mary's, then transferred to Iowa State to play for T.J. Otzelberger. And he can post. He plays off the elbow really well. He does a great job using fakes, but he can be a playmaker as a front court player. And he plays with he's got kind of what I call an old man game. It's a slow, he sees the floor slowly, but he can guard multiple positions. He's just a winning player, gets steals and blocks. When he went down with injury in the postseason, I thought Iowa State had a Final Four caliber team. but that's what derailed their opportunity to reach a Final Four. And boy, that game they played against Arizona in the Big 12 tournament, one of the best games I saw all year. And Joshua Jefferson was one of the best front court players that I saw all year.
He studies excellent front court players, Paolo Banchero, Naz Reid, and J-Dub for their size, their ball handling abilities. And then there were the final 2 picks of the first round of the 2026 draft after this.
The future is happening now on ABC and ESPN. One of the most talented classes in history gives every team a chance at a star. The NBA draft continues tomorrow on ESPN.
Excuse me. Who's that?
Online data tracker. Follows me everywhere I browse.
Chrome.
This may be someone's idea of a perfect retirement.
I think there's a mistake. This is not my retirement.
But not Rick's. His looks more like this.
Paying this guy a fortune to hurt me.
Don't stop! He tells his friends he's golfing.
Right?
He's learning Mandarin. It's a whole thing. What do you fish for?
Mostly compliments, but...
It's not just any retirement. It's yours. So get income that can last a lifetime and protect your life's work with Prudential.
Dad, how are s'mores made?
It's time for the talk. Well, you know, one day you're going to meet someone that you care about very much, and they're going to tell you not to light your marshmallow on fire. They're wrong. Nothing makes a s'more like Hershey's chocolate.
We're making a splash with another Twisted Tea drop. Twisted Tea fans love the smooth, refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Real brewed tea with a 5% kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone. Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
Right. Okay, sweetie. I'll be up in a minute.
This is Mission Control. Ignition sequence started. The code awaits your command. New frontiers are within your reach. Trajectory confirmed. We wish you courage on your journey.
Yes, no, Panera has a new thing called a salad stuffer. It's amazing. It's like salad stuffed in a soft Italian roll. No, it's like stuffed in the roll. Hey. New salad stuffers, only at Panera.
Never cease to be amazed in the fully redesigned Lexus ES. Because a car that doesn't make you feel something stops short of amazing.
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I demand CeraVe Facial Moisturizing Lotion for 24-hour hydration, SPF 50 protection, and no white cast. CeraVe, demanded by skin.
Discover CeraVe Hair Care, reinvented with dermatologists.
Season 2 of Athletes Unlimited Softball League loaded, ignited by a record-setting inaugural season. A bold new era in softball is here. Now, 6 teams take the field in their home markets, each stacked with a lineup worthy of the spotlight. Utah Talons versus Carolina Blaze, Thursday at 7 on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Well, it's been a fun night so far, an evening that started with A.J. Dybantsa being drafted #1 overall by the Washington Wizards, and his new teammate welcomed him, but he said, hold on, I'm not so sure I'm ready to give up my #3 jersey to you quite yet. Hey, the commissioner has the pick. The graphics say Cleveland, but our Shams Charania is reporting that this pick is on its way to Sacramento, so really this is the Sacramento Kings on the clock.
We have another trade to announce. As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Minnesota Timberwolves are trading to the Brooklyn Nets the draft rights to Joshua Jefferson, the 28th pick. And with the 29th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Alex Karaban from the University of Connecticut.
Alex Karaban won 2 national championships with UConn. His resume, it really is all about winning. He has the most career wins in UConn men's basketball history, and he could have a long NBA career shooting at a premium, and Karaban can shoot it here.
He can shoot it. And Alex, to your point, Malika, 126 wins in a UConn uniform, and he'll be a guardian of your team's culture. You know, it's not about him, it's about the team. But he's got a high IQ, makes really quick decisions. He's what I'd call a connective passer. He can shoot it from 3. He's a great, smart cutter. He moves without the ball really well, but he's selfless. He doesn't really create his own. But, you know, you just think back to that play that was made at the end of the Elite 8 game against Duke, where Braylon Mullins hit that game-winning shot. The guy that made the pass was Alex Karaban, and recognized the situation and got it to a freshman that was stepping in. Like, he could have taken that shot with the clock winding down, but had that presence of mind and basketball IQ to get it to the right place.
I like that you say that he's the steward of a culture for the team. Terrence Reed Jr., his teammate that was taken earlier, said that he really admires his leadership. Now this is it. We're at the final pick of the night. So before we find out who that selection is, I want to check back in with our senior insider, Shams Charania here. Shams, as we wrap up the first round and look towards tomorrow night's second, what are you keeping your eye on? What's your big takeaway?
I look at A.J. Dybantsa, and when I did research today on this pick, the Wizards did everything they could to keep it quiet, but they had landed on A.J. Dybantsa quite some time ago. My understanding is the Wizards look at Dybantsa as a type of transcendent prospect like we've seen in the past, like a Cooper Flagg, or someone that's in Washington, D.C. right now, like an Anthony Davis. And when A.J. Dybantsa visited the Wizards earlier this month in D.C., I know A.J. Dybantsa said he didn't work out. He didn't work out for anyone. I'm told he did get a pretty hard workout in when he was on that visit, had dinner with them, hung out with all of them. They really think his size, his skill, his athleticism is going to be perfect alongside Trae Young at point guard and AD in the middle.
He's had his eye on the #1 pick for a while, and that dream came true tonight, Shams. Thank you for all your incredible work, by the way, throughout this first round and keeping us abreast of all the moves that are happening here. All right, this is it, Andrea. This is the final pick of the night. The Dallas Mavericks on the clock. We're hearing that the pick is getting closer to being made here. Bobby, as we wrap up, your final thoughts.
Well, I think I'm just going to go back to where Sacramento was. This is a good night for I know they had the 7th pick in the draft, and they go out and get Alex Karaban. This is a good night for Sacramento with Darius Acuff and Alex Karaban.
It's a good night for many franchises and for many young players as well. One more will join the NBA fraternity before we see even more in the second round. But to close it out, here's the commissioner.
With the 30th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Koa Pete from the University of Arizona. And that concludes the first round. The second round of the draft will begin tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on ESPN. Thank you and good night.
Well, not good night quite yet, Commissioner. We do want to give Koa Pete his flowers, his shine here after helping lead Arizona to a program record 36 wins and a Final Four appearance. What does he need to work on to have a long career in the NBA, Jay?
Well, to improve upon, he's got to stretch out his range. He scores all his points in the paint, but he is a big, strong, wide-bodied front court player. You know, he made 76% of his buckets in the paint, only 30% of his field goal attempts were outside the paint, but he averaged about 10 paint points a game, but averaged about 17 points in the NCAA tournament. Really strong and athletic, just a warrior that attacks the rim and attacks bodies, gets to the foul line, and he's got the length and the strength to guard the 4 spot, even at times the 5 spot. But, you know, his first game in college, you know, he's a 4-time state champion. His first game in college, he put up 30 on that great front court against Florida and really announced his arrival into college basketball, and then continued on playing for Tommy Lloyd.
That you see right there. And as is only fitting at the way that this first round has gone, this pick is on the move, according to our Shab Sharanya.
Right.
He's headed to the Phoenix Suns here. Hey, that's going to do it for us here in the first night of the 2026 NBA Draft. We'll have more coverage of the 2026 NBA Draft with round 2 tomorrow night on ESPN at 8 Eastern. But coming up next, it's SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. On behalf of our entire crew in front of and behind the camera, our director, our producer, Josh Carr as well, thank you so much for watching. Good night, and we will see you for round 2 tomorrow.